Tonight you are not just listening to words, you are entering a sacred temple within yourself. You are stepping into the quiet power where all worlds are formed, the kingdom of imagination, the womb of wealth. Perhaps right now, your outer world looks the same. Bills on the table, responsibilities waiting. But that is the old reflection. Tonight, you are planting a new seed, a seed of limitless abundance. By the time you wake, your heart will feel lighter. Your spirit will feel expanded. You will sense something shifting beneath the surface, a new current moving silently through your life. That is the law working for you. In this sacred session, you will learn to prepare your mind for the night of wealth. You will learn to speak the code of abundance, to feel wealth as your nature, and to fall asleep inside the identity of the one who already has everything. No begging, no waiting, no hoping, only assuming, only being. For when you sleep in wealth, the world must reflect wealth back to you. I know how it feels to struggle, to pray for change and wake to the same walls, the same worries. I know what it is to work harder and harder, yet feel no richer. But I also know the secret Neville Goddard taught, that the subconscious creates reality, and sleep is its open door. You do not need to fight the world. You do not need to convince anyone. You only need to impress the silent power within. For the subconscious is perfect soil. Whatever you plant, grows. And so tonight, I will guide you step by step into the twilight chamber, that sacred silence between waking and dreaming, where the conscious lays down its guard and the subconscious accepts the command. You will plant one seed only. I am wealthy. Not I will be, not I hope to be, not maybe one day, but I am. Before we begin, take a moment to set your intention. If you want this manifestation to unfold with its full power, declare it to the universe right now by writing in the comments, I am ready to receive. The instant you put those words out there, you send a clear signal. Your heart is open, your hands are open, and what you've asked for is already on its way. Close your eyes, let the noise of the day dissolve. Each thought of worry, let it fade. Each shadow of doubt, let it pass. Each voice of fear, thank it and let it go. You are entering the inner sanctuary, and here only truth is spoken. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for 3 seconds. Now exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel your shoulders soften. Feel your chest loosen. Feel your body begin to sink into rest. You are safe. You are provided for. You are guided. And tonight, you are planting the seed of divine abundance. Let the words echo in your mind. I am safe. I am free. I am wealthy. Let them not be wishes, but identity. Because wealth is not a distant goal. Wealth is a state of being. And tonight, you step into it fully. Sleep is not the end of the day. Sleep is the beginning of creation. It is the silent workshop of God within you. Each night you enter it, whether aware or unaware, and each night you plant. If you fall asleep thinking, I am poor, I am stuck, I am worried, then you plant weeds, and the soil does not argue, it only grows what it's given. But if you fall asleep thinking, I am wealthy, I am free, I am abundant, then you plant roses, and the harvest must come. So I ask you now, what seed will you plant tonight? Fear or faith? Lack or abundance? Worry or wealth? For the subconscious, this perfect soil will bring forth after its kind. Always. Tonight, we plant wealth, not as a dream, but as a decree. First, visualization. The garden of golden paths. Close your eyes. Let the day soften behind you, like the last light dissolving on a calm horizon. Feel how every sound around you begins to stretch and blur into something gentle, distant, almost musical. Your breath finds a slower rhythm, steady and deep, the kind that makes your chest rise like waves on a sleeping sea. Each inhale draws you deeper inside. Each exhale clears the air, as if you're sweeping an empty room before inviting in new life. You're standing now on a wide terrace, carved from pale stone. The air is cool, brushed with the faint scent of lavender and rain. Overhead, stars spill across the sky, like silver dust scattered by a generous hand. Below, a city hums, quiet streets lined with lighted windows, rooftops soft with moonshine. Somewhere far off, water laps against a shore, patient and rhythmic. Everything is calm. Everything is listening. A doorway glows ahead, tall and arched. You step through and enter a long corridor whose walls shimmer like mother of pearl. Every surface seems to hold a soft inner light, not bright, but living. The floor beneath your feet is warm, as though the earth itself remembers the sun. You walk slowly, and with each step, a word rises in your mind like a steady heartbeat. I am wealthy. I am wealthy. I am wealthy. The words are not a wish, they are a rhythm. They belong to you the way your breath belongs to you. At the corridor's end, a great wooden door waits, aged, carved with intricate symbols that breathe when you look at them. You rest your palm against the wood and feel it thrum, a low note that vibrates through your bones. The door opens inward, without effort, and a room reveals itself, round and vast, filled with soft golden light. This is the chamber of receiving. In the center of the room stands a wide table draped in cloth, the color of dawn. On it rests a chest made of clear crystal. Inside the chest, something glimmers, fine threads of light, weaving and unwinding, like the roots of a tree growing in fast forward. You realize these are the currents of wealth, the unseen channels through which abundance travels to reach you. Each thread vibrates with quiet intelligence. Each thread is already connected to your name. You walk closer, and as you do, the light recognizes you. It stirs, rises, begins to mirror the pulse in your wrists. You lift the lid, and warmth spills out, washing over your hands, your arms, your chest. It feels like being welcomed home. You reach in, and the threads wrap around your fingers, gentle but sure. In their touch, you sense stories. Meals paid with ease, laughter that costs nothing and buys joy. Homes full of softness and safety, mornings where time stretches kindly. You feel yourself inside those stories, not as a visitor, but as the author. You draw the threads toward you, and they merge into a single golden ribbon. You tie it loosely around your wrist. The knot closes itself, firm yet comfortable, as if saying, you no longer have to chase. You are chosen. You are claimed. Now a path opens from the far side of the room, a corridor lined with tall mirrors. You begin to walk, and in each mirror you glimpse a version of yourself living from this truth. In one, you're sitting at a desk, signing a contract that feels effortless, the numbers beside your name generous and fair. In another, you're walking through a market, giving freely, tipping joyfully, smiling because generosity has become as natural as breathing. In the next, you're waking up to sunlight spilling across linen, checking your accounts and feeling only calm, a quiet satisfaction blooming where anxiety once lived. Keep walking. Each reflection is a world already forming, a seed sprouting in the soil of imagination. You don't have to reach into the glass. The reflections lean out to meet you, merging, settling into your skin like warmth after sunlight. The corridor bends and opens onto a terrace over a wide ocean. The water below glows faintly, carrying reflections of stars that seem closer than they should be. A breeze moves across your face, cool and scented with salt and citrus. You rest your hands on the railing and look out at the endless horizon. Somewhere beneath that surface, currents are moving, silent couriers carrying every form of abundance toward you. You can't see them, but you can feel their pull, the soft assurance of inevitability. This is what alignment feels like. The voice rises inside you, quiet, calm, certain. I do not chase. I attract. I do not plead. I allow. I do not doubt. I know. The words echo through your chest, down your arms, into your fingertips, until your whole body hums with their truth. You look down, and the ocean begins to mirror you, not your face, but your state. Steady, luminous, at peace. You realize that wealth is not a pile of things, but a movement of energy, a conversation between giving and receiving. And tonight, that conversation speaks your language fluently. You turn from the ocean and find yourself in a garden, lit by lanterns, hanging from unseen branches. The air is warm, carrying the perfume of jasmine and ripe fruit. Gravel crunches softly under your steps. Ahead, a long table waits beneath a canopy of stars. On it, stacks of letters sealed in gold wax, each one bearing your name in flowing script. You sit, open the first, and read, paid in full. The next says, approved and released. Another, we're delighted to move forward. Each envelope you open carries relief that settles into your muscles like warmth. By the 10th, you're smiling, not surprised, just recognized. A figure approaches, serene, familiar. You know them without knowing how. They hand you one final letter. The seal bears the symbol you saw on the great wooden door. Inside, only a single line. Thank you for remembering. You fold it gently and place it over your heart. Something unlocks behind your ribs like a window opening to let light in. Now the garden begins to fade, not vanish, but soften. Like watercolor meeting water. The scents remain, the warmth remains, but you feel yourself being carried, as though the earth beneath you has turned to cloud. You drift, and the words rise again, quiet, rhythmic, eternal. I am wealthy. I am safe. I am free. Money flows easily to me. I give freely and receive freely. I am the source and the vessel. Thank you. It is done. Let each phrase settle into you, not as thought but as vibration. Let your heartbeat echo it, your breath repeat it. The rhythm becomes a lullaby. Older than language, a code the universe understands. Somewhere above, a star brightens, sending a beam of light that finds you even through closed eyes. It touches your forehead and you feel clarity. It brushes your chest and you feel calm. It rests on your hands and you feel readiness. You whisper, softly, so softly. But the whole universe hears, I am ready to live this truth. And the universe, which has been waiting, smiles back in the only way it can, by rearranging itself to match your new frequency. You are drifting now. The terrace, the garden, the corridor of mirrors all remain within you, alive and accessible. You can return to them whenever you wish. They are not elsewhere. They are your inheritance. The golden ribbon around your wrist warms once more, a final pulse, a promise. You breathe in, and the air tastes like completion. You breathe out, and your body melts deeper into rest. The last thought that rises is the truest one. It is done. And as sleep claims you, the code you've spoken continues its work, weaving through every layer of your being, turning belief into pattern, pattern into form, form into a world that greets you with open hands. Second visualization, the hall of agreements. Let your breath stretch out into something soft and unhurried. In through the nose, a quiet rise. Out through the mouth, a steady fall. Each breath loosens a thread of the day, until you feel like a sail catching only the gentlest wind. Behind your closed eyes, a faint glow forms, first a spark, then a path of light that curves forward. Follow it. You don't need to walk. It carries you the way a current carries a leaf, kindly, without hurry. The glow opens into a wide hall made of pale stone and open air. Columns climb toward a ceiling you can't quite see. Between them, long banners drift, as if an invisible breeze remembers every victory you've ever had. The floor is covered in patterns of gold that shift and settle like sunlight on moving water. This is the Hall of Agreements, where promises made in imagination take on form. In the center stands a round table carved from a single piece of marble. Upon it lies a book bound in deep blue leather. Its edges shimmer faintly, the way heat shimmers above sand. You rest your fingertips on the cover and feel the thrum of something alive beneath. The book opens by itself, pages turning until they settle on a sheet of pure white. Across the top, your name glows in quiet gold. A pen rests nearby, heavy, warm, balanced perfectly between your fingers. As you lift it, Words begin to appear, not in ink but in light, forming slowly, patiently, like sunrise revealing what was always there. The first line reads, I agree to be fully supplied in every season. The next, I agree to prosper through peace, not pressure. Another follows, I agree that generosity and gratitude are my natural language. You feel no need to question. These are not commands from outside you. They are recognitions. They have waited in your deeper knowing, and now they step forward to be seen. One by one, you sign beside each line. The pen moves easily, tracing curves that feel familiar, ancestral. With every signature, a gentle weight lifts from your chest. Old stories that whispered, you must earn before you receive. You must prove before you rest. They dissolve like dust brushed from a window pane. When the last line is signed, the page glows brighter, sealing itself with a hum that resonates through the hall. Around you, the columns respond, threads of gold running up their sides, weaving a web overhead. From that web, small points of light fall slowly. Like petals released by an unseen hand, they drift toward you, settle on your shoulders, your hair, your open palms. Each spark becomes a symbol, a coin, a key, a seed, a feather. You recognize them without needing explanation. They are the forms abundance takes. When it chooses to travel light, you gather them gently, pressing them to your heart. The hall begins to shift, its edges softening. The columns stretch outward until they become tall trees. The floor becomes earth, warm underfoot. You stand now in a forest filled with birdsong that seems to weave itself into melody. A path of moss leads forward, dappled with sunlight. You walk barefoot, each step releasing the scent of green things growing. Somewhere ahead, water murmurs, low and sure. The path opens to a clearing, where a spring bubbles from a ring of stones. The water is so clear, you can see the pebbles lining its bed, each one catching the light like a gem. Beside the spring rests a cup carved from crystal. You kneel, dip the cup, and raise it to your lips. The water tastes of clean rain and sweet fruit. As it slides down your throat, warmth blooms in your chest, spreading through your limbs. It feels like recognition, like the body remembering how it feels to be supported. You set the cup down and look into the spring. Your reflection gazes back, calm, certain. But around your image, ripples form shapes, scenes unfolding like gentle film. In one, you see yourself receiving payment easily, the transaction graceful, the gratitude mutual. In another, you're in conversation with someone who values your work so deeply that numbers become a language of respect. In another, you're laughing, handing something to a stranger, a tip, a gift, a gesture, and the act fills you, not empties you. The ripples fade, leaving the water still. You realize these aren't wishes. They are previews of the inevitable, glimpses of what your new agreements make natural. You whisper softly to the reflection, I see you, I believe you, I live you. The reflection smiles, a small knowing curve that mirrors your own. From the trees, a breeze stirs. Leaves sway, and a faint shower of petals drifts down, each one a shade of gold. They settle in the spring, floating like tiny boats. You cup your hands, lift a few, and watch as they dissolve into light against your skin, leaving a faint shimmer. It feels like the echo of gratitude, the proof of connection between inner and outer worlds. You stand, stretching your arms overhead, palms open to the canopy. The forest seems to exhale with you. Birds rise, circling once before settling again. Somewhere in the distance, a bell sounds, clear, single, true. It marks not time passing, but time aligning. You take one slow turn in the clearing, committing the scene to the archive behind your eyes. The clear water, the golden petals, the path returning between trees. When you look down once more, the symbols you gathered in the hall, the coin, the key, the seed, the feather, are still in your hands. You tuck them into a small pouch at your belt. They're light, but you feel their gravity, the way they ground you in certainty. Now walk back through the forest. Each step feels guided, cushioned by moss. Encouraged by birdsong, the path narrows, becomes light again, becomes the glow you first followed. You drift, the forest folding gently away, until the air around you is once more the quiet of your own room, your own breath, your own heartbeat. You bring a hand to your chest and feel the warmth there, steady and sure. Whisper to yourself, I have signed my peace. I have sealed my prosperity. I am cared for in all directions. Let the words linger, slow and certain. They are not spells. They are simple truths, remembering themselves. Now breathe, long and deep. The glow around you dims into darkness, soft as velvet. The last thing you feel before sleep takes you is a pulse at your wrist, the rhythm of agreement, steady as the tide. I am supplied. I am supported. I am safe to receive. Thank you, it is done. Third visualization. The treasury of light. Breathe softly until the air begins to feel warm against the back of your throat. Each inhale a tide coming in, each exhale a tide returning home. Behind your closed eyes, a thin line of light appears, neither ahead nor behind, simply there. Step toward it. The line widens, curves, opens into a gate made of woven gold threads. When you touch it, it parts soundlessly, and you cross into a vast expanse, where air and light seem to share the same body. You find yourself on a wide plain covered with short grass that glimmers like silver under moonlight. The ground is cool and steady, each blade singing faintly, as if strummed by unseen fingers. Far in the distance, you glimpse what looks like a horizon built of crystal, arches and domes rising in soft silhouettes, lit from within. You start walking. The plain stretches easily, your feet never sink, your pace unhurried. With every step, the air hums a little closer to the tone of your breath, until you realize you're walking inside your own heartbeat. As you near the crystalline horizon, details sharpen, broad avenues paved with translucent stone, walls etched with patterns that pulse gently, as though the entire city is breathing. You pass through a gate that opens like a curtain of light. Above it, letters form and dissolve again. The treasury of light. You enter. Inside, the avenues are lined with tall glass trees, whose branches bear fruits of every color. Coins, jewels, symbols, words, all softly glowing. The air smells faintly of honey and cedar. You hear no footsteps but your own, yet you sense the presence of calm attendants, moving unseen, tending to the flow of brightness. At the city center stands a building that seems woven from daylight itself. Its doors are tall, arched, carved with rivers that shift when you look at them. You place your hands on them and warmth moves through your palms. The doors open outward, revealing a hall so wide that the far wall dissolves into haze. Pillars rise like columns of dawn, each crowned with a sphere of light turning slowly in place. The floor is smooth, reflecting you back not as you were, but as you are becoming taller, clearer, lit from within. You walk between the pillars, and in the silence you begin to notice shelves along the walls, endless rows of open boxes and scrolls, each radiating a quiet hum. You understand. Without words, this is where every fulfilled desire is archived, every answered prayer catalogued. Nothing is lost here. Every act of faith is kept in luminous order, waiting only for recognition. An attendant appears beside you, clothed in linen that shimmers with faint stars. Their faces calm, eyes bright but kind. They hold a small lantern and tilt it toward you. Inside burns a flame the color of early morning. You have come, they say, not as question, but as greeting. You nod, and the sound of your nod ripples outward like a bell. They lead you deeper into the treasury. With each step, the air thickens slightly, as though filled with gentle gravity. You arrive at a chamber open to the sky, its ceiling a dome of clear light, where constellations rearrange themselves as you watch. In the center stands a fountain with 3 levels, water cascades in slow spirals, shining within a fire. Around the base are bowls carved from crystal, each etched with a word: provision, ease, joy, purpose, freedom. The attendant gestures toward the bowls. Choose what you need to remember, they say. You kneel and dip your hands into provision. The water feels heavier than ordinary water, silken like liquid promise. You bring your wet palms to your chest, and warmth spreads outward through bone and skin, a radiance that lingers. You do the same with ease, tracing a line across your forehead. Tension dissolves, thoughts line up neatly, like tools return to their place. From joy, you scoop a small handful and breathe its vapor, sweet, sharp, electric. A smile rises without effort. Purpose. You press against your throat. Your voice inside grows steady, unforced. Finally, freedom. You let a single drop fall into your open mouth. It tastes of wind and morning rain. When you rise, the fountain shifts, its waters brightening, as if acknowledging balance restored. The attendant touches the air beside you, and a path of light unfolds leading upward to a balcony. You follow. The steps are wide and shallow, easy on your legs. At the top, the city spreads below, a tapestry of luminous order. You see avenues where streams of brightness flow like rivers, branching and joining, feeding homes, gardens, workshops. You see people moving calmly, each carrying a small flame at the center of their chest, none brighter, none dimmer, equal in their glow. The attendant speaks again. What is gathered here flows outward. It finds every open channel, every willing steward. You are one now. Remember, light loves circulation. They lift your right hand and trace a symbol into your palm, 3 lines meeting at a single point, simple as a star. The mark glows briefly, then sinks beneath your skin. It pulses once, syncing with your heartbeat. The attendant nods, satisfied. This will remind you, they say, that nothing given in truth is lost, and nothing received in gratitude grows stale. You look once more at the city, noticing that its brilliance is not static. It breathes, dims slightly, brightens again, as if whispering, inhale, receive, exhale, release. The rhythm feels familiar. Your own body, the tide, the seasons. You understand now that abundance is not accumulation, but circulation, and your role is not to grasp, but to guide. The attendant lowers the lantern. The flame inside folds inward, becoming a single spark. They hand it to you, and it settles just above your heart, merging with the glow that was already there. You bow slightly. Gratitude moving through you, in waves too wide for words. When you look up, the attendant is gone, the hall still shining, steady as ever. You turn back toward the entrance. The walk feels shorter, lighter. The doors open before you, and you step once more onto the avenue lined with glass trees. Some of their fruits have changed shape. Where before they were distant symbols, now they resemble moments you recognize, a bill marked paid, a message of thanks, a quiet evening without worry. You reach out to touch one, and it dissolves into a shimmer that streams into your hand, then into your chest. Another pulse, another promise kept. The city gate opens in silence. Beyond it, the silver plain stretches under the same patient sky. You walk across, carrying your inner light. With every step, the landscape softens, edges dissolving until all that remains is the rhythm of breath, the warmth in your palm, the steady mantra that rises unbidden. I am a keeper of light. I am a channel of wealth. I receive with grace and release with joy. What I seek is already in motion. Thank you. It is done. Let the words linger, not as sound, but as gentle pressure behind your ribs. Feel them settle where your heartbeat lives. As you inhale, imagine the treasury, glowing far behind you, endless, intact. As you exhale, imagine its rivers branching through your life, quiet, reliable, bright. Rest now inside that certainty. The plane fades, the gate fades, the glow folds itself into a single star hovering behind your closed eyes. Breathe once more, deep and slow. The star dissolves into darkness, soft as velvet. And in that darkness, your pulse answers the echo of a vast and patient universe. It is done. Fourth visualization. The quiet mint. Let your breath soften as if you are setting a glass of water onto a quiet table. Inhale as though light is entering through your ribs. Exhale as though the room itself is breathing with you. With each slow breath, the edges of the day loosen and fall away, until only a gentle hum remains, a tone that feels like comfort. Follow that hum. You are walking a faint path at dusk. The sky is the deep blue that comes just before stars declare themselves. Ahead, a low mountain rises like a sleeping animal, and from within it comes that steady, soothing sound, a forge's heartbeat but more musical, tuned to the exact pitch of your calm. As you approach, the hillside opens without hinges, revealing an arched entryway cut from luminous stone. Warmth meets you like a welcome you didn't know you were missing. You step inside. The passage widens into a hall with a high, curved ceiling that glows the color of candlelight reflected in honey. The floor is smooth and cool, veined with threads of soft gold that pulse in time with your breath. Arrayed along the hall are great circular presses, each turning with unhurried grace. They do not clang. They sing a low bell tone that settles the body and clears the mind. This is the quiet mint, where worry is smelted down and recast as wealth, where ideas take on pleasant weight, where gratitude becomes currency that circulates without loss. Attendants move in silence, their garments like folded light, their presence reassuring. One nods to you and gestures to a station prepared for your hands. On the table lies a shallow bowl of warm metal, not quite liquid, not quite solid, sunset poured into a cup. Beside it, a short-handled stamp, its face engraved with a simple mark you somehow recognize as your own. An open hand over a calm wave. The attendant's eyes are kind. Without words, they invite you to begin. A tray slides forward, holding thin sheets, old ledgers you've carried beneath your ribs, a bill that once made your throat tighten, a memory of being told no, a fear that repeats like a stuck chord. You do not flinch. You are here to melt these into something useful. You lay the first sheet upon the surface of the bowl. It curls, sighs, dissolves into the warm metal. The hum of the mint deepens by a hair, like a choir welcoming a new voice. You add another and another. Every story of lack, every headline in your mind that begins with I can't or I never. Each one becomes brightness, indistinguishable from all the other brightness. The attendant raises the stamp, and you place your hands upon it, feeling its weight steady and friendly. Together you press the mark into the waiting metal. There is no struggle, only a soft, decisive hiss, the sound a seal makes when it knows it belongs. You lift the stamp. Lying before you is a round coin of light, its surface smooth as calm water, your symbol gleaming in the center. You pick it up. It is warm and reassuringly real, like a promise kept. You turn to a long channel that runs the length of the hall. It carries a slow river of light that threads through arches, turns corners, and disappears into the mountain's depths. You drop the coin into the current. It does not sink. It glides away, casting a gentle wake that traces lines you recognize to your home, to your accounts, to your work, to the hands of those you love and those you will meet. The attendant inclines their head, approving. Circulation, their presence seems to say. This is how light behaves. You repeat the process. Another sheet, another press, another coin, each one easier than the last. With every release, your chest feels roomier. With every imprint, your spine settles into its natural length. The hum of the presses matches your pulse until you cannot tell which is which. The mint receives all you bring without judgment and returns only clarity and flow. At the far end of the hall, a doorway opens into a circular room lit from above by a skylight cut cleanly into the mountain. A single table fills the center, and on it rests a great, open book bound in soft leather that smells faintly of cedar and rain. You step closer. The pages are thick and luminous, written in a hand that looks like wind made visible, fluid, confident. The attendant gestures, and the book turns to a fresh spread whose edges glow softly. A pen lifts itself and hovers over the page, waiting. You speak your name inside your chest, not out loud, but with the intention you use when you remember someone you love. The pen writes your name, each letter unfurling like a banner. It then writes a line that fills you with a quiet, grounded joy. All that concerns me is resolved in my favor with grace and perfect timing. As the ink dries, the words seem to become part of the page's fiber, not sitting on top, but woven through, immutable as a star's path. A gentle bell tone calls your attention to a dial mounted on the wall. Its face is marked with 5 words: ease, sufficiency, overflow, generosity, stewardship. The needle currently rests at ease. The attendant invites you to place your hand upon the dial. Your fingers settle into grooves that fit you exactly. Slowly, without force, you turn the needle. As it moves from ease to sufficiency, you feel your breath thicken pleasantly, like cream added to coffee. As it slides to overflow, the light in the room brightens a shade, not harshly, but the way dawn lifts a meadow. When you point it toward generosity, a new current becomes audible, a joyful movement like laughter shared in a kitchen. And when your hand settles finally at stewardship, the hum of the entire mint aligns, and you feel a quiet crown settle just above your head, not a weight, a clarity. The attendant brings a tray holding small velvet pouches, each fine and light. You understand these are for carrying what you've minted into the moments ahead. You open one. It swallows more coins than its size should allow, and yet remains featherlight. This is how spiritual weight works, dense with meaning, easy to bear. From a side corridor, a breeze arrives, surprisingly cool, carrying the scent of ripe figs and clean linen. You follow it into a vaulted chamber where a narrow canal runs clear as glass. This is the channel of distribution, the place where the river of light branches into 1,000 rivulets that know exactly where to go. You kneel. The water's surface reflects you not as need, but as answer. Your posture relaxed, your gaze steady, your hands open. You slip a coin into the canal. It becomes a small shape you recognize, a conversation where someone says, "Of course we can do that for you." A message with the line approved. A receipt stamped, paid in full. A quiet afternoon where the air tastes like relief. You release another coin. It becomes a face smiling at you, saying, "I thought of you and wanted you to have this," and you feel the pure sweetness of receiving without debt to the soul. Another coin becomes a gate that was once stuck. Now it swings well-oiled. Another becomes a key, finding the right lock. The current takes each and arranges them, not as a list to chase, but as a path that flows to your feet. You stand and notice your body again, the warmth along your sternum, the ease between your eyes, the grounded heaviness of your feet on the floor. The attendant touches their fingers lightly to your palm. Where your symbol rests, a pulse answers 1, 2, 3, like a knock. A meaning arrives without language. Open-handed, open-hearted, open-circuited. What comes to you is for you. What flows through you is you. Nothing true is ever lost. Returning to the main hall, you see that the presses are now stamping without your effort. Coins bear not only your symbol, but words you have decided to live by, already provided. Safe to receive, safe to give, more than enough. You realize these phrases are not spells. They are descriptions of the world as it is when you allow it. The attendants gather the coins, and with care that never hurries, send them into the river. You are guided to a balcony that overlooks a deep cavern. The river of light flows below, and you can see where it meets other rivers, joining, dividing, joining again. Some streams labeled with names that make you smile, some unlabeled because they do not need labels to find you. The ceiling above is pierced with constellations that look like the kind you saw from childhood backyards. One cluster brightens, and its points connect themselves into a shape your heart recognizes, a doorway you've wanted to walk through. The doorway steadies and becomes not merely a picture, but a felt certainty. Your body answers with a small, involuntary sigh, the sound of a burden set down from the balcony railing. You lift your pouch and let a few coins fall, like seeds. They arc in slow motion, turning slightly, catching light. Where they land, ground forms beneath them, a warm conversation, an introduction, a simple yes that opens three more doors you couldn't see from here. The mint hums its approval. The air tastes faintly of citrus and new beginnings. You take time. You let this place reroute your reflexes. You listen as the hum pronounces a sentence you will carry with you. What I am is the open channel through which wealth finds its way. You say it back inside yourself and watch as your shoulders agree, as your breath agrees, as the floor under your feet agrees. The agreement clicks gently into place like a clasp. When you are ready to return, the attendants gather close. They do not speak, but their presence around you is a benediction, as though a circle has been drawn. Nothing to keep things out, everything to keep the remembering in. You bow, an easy gesture that feels like exhaling. They bow in return with the same small smile you might wear when handing someone a gift you know they will love. The entry hall awaits, calm and unchanged, the gold threads along the floor pulsing softly, promising constancy. As you pass the threshold into the mountain's dusk, the sound of the presses continues behind you for a moment, then blends with the rhythm of your own heart, until you cannot tell where the mint ends and you begin. The path is cool beneath your feet. The sky above has grown clearer, a few bright stars opening like flowers. With each step back toward the world, the pouches at your side make no sound. They are light as breath, yet you can feel the gentle pressure of their presence, like a warm hand at the small of your back guiding you forward. You don't need to plan what will happen next. The river knows. As you walk, a simple litany rises, almost of its own accord. The way a song you love appears at the exact moment you need it. I am wealthy now. I am provided for now. I receive with ease. I give with joy. I circulate light faithfully. Thank you. It is done. Let the words settle, not as declarations shouted at the world, but as the truest description of the room inside your chest. Feel the mint humming in that room. Feel the stamp warming your palm. Feel the river threading through your day ahead, under floors and streets and conversations, sure of itself, sure of you. Breathe in as though the mountain is breathing with you. Breathe out as though the stars are leaning closer to listen. The pathway thins, then widens into the soft field of your resting body. The sounds around you return, gentle and familiar. The hum remains, quieter now but continuous, like a friend who doesn't need to speak to be known. Rest inside the assurance that what you have minted continues to circulate, that what you have released continues to return, that the symbol in your palm will glow when you need to remember. If you wish, touch your hand lightly to your chest and notice the pulse answer you 1, 2, 3, open-handed, open-hearted, open-circuited. Now simply be. The quiet mint is at work. Your life is its chosen route. You are the channel and the blessing it carries. It is done. Fifth visualization. The house of quiet keys. Let your breath fall into an easy rhythm, like waves approaching a friendly shore. Arriving, resting, returning, arriving again. With each inhale, feel space open between your ribs. With each exhale, feel your shoulders slope into comfort. Imagine a soft warmth gathering behind your sternum, the steady glow of a candle that has always been lit for you. Let that glow widen until it fills your chest, your throat, your face, the crown of your head. The body understands this light. It relaxes under it. The mind loosens under it. The day steps back a little, kindly, giving you room. Ahead in this gentle inner landscape, a house waits. It stands at the bend of a quiet lane, where jasmine grows along a low wall, and the evening air carries the scent of rain that hasn't fallen yet. The house is built of pale stone, edges rounded by years of welcome. Its windows are luminous, as though the rooms within remember you. As you walk the path, you notice there is no lock on the door, only a brass plate polished by countless homecomings. You lay your hand upon it. The warmth that rises to meet your palm is unmistakable. Recognition. The door swings inward on a hush of air like a sigh of relief. Inside, the entryway is wide and soft lit. Hooks line one wall, and upon them hang coats you have worn for years without noticing, the coat of hurrying, the coat of maybe later, the coat of I must prove. You lift one, surprised at its weight, and then at how light your body becomes when you set it down. Another follows, and another. Underneath, your natural posture returns, the length of your spine settling like a tree, finding its true root. The air here smells faintly of cedar and new bread. The temperature is the exact degree that asks nothing of you. On a small table rests a ring of keys, each forged from the same quiet light as your inner candle. Their shapes are familiar in the way a melody is familiar the first time you hear it. You reach for the ring, and it fits your hand as though your hand taught it how. A small inscription circles the metal. For doors that want you. You smile without thinking. You are not here to force anything. You are here to meet what already belongs to you. The first door opens just by your attention turning toward it. You step into a long sun-swept hall where the floor is a pale herringbone that glows as though memory itself has been polished. Along the wall, frames hold documents. You recognize bills, statements, emails, contracts, the paper trail of modern life. Except here, the ink has a softness to it, a willingness. You move closer to a frame you've avoided in the outer world, the one that once made your jaw set and your breath grow shallow. Inside the glass, the numbers do not glare. They wait. Your thumb brushes a small latch on the frame, and it opens like a book. You breathe out. As your breath touches the page, words rearrange of their own accord. A red notice melts to a gold stamp. The stamp reads what your body has craved to read. PN full. It is not loud, it is not theatrical, it is definitive. You move to the next frame. AP proved. To the next. Received. To the next. Cleared. Your shoulders grow even lighter. The nervous habit that lives between your eyebrows dissolves like a knot under warm water. You realize the transformations are not tricks. They are reflections of the state you are standing in, the room inside your chest that has finally been allowed to arrange the world as it is. You glance back down the hall, where once there were papers that hummed with demand, now there are records that hum with completion. Completion sounds like the soft click of a latch that fits perfectly. The house leads you gently onward. You step into a room that feels like afternoon. A round table waits at the center, its wood a little scarred from use, as all good tables are. Chairs are pulled back, ready. You take one and realize you are not alone. Around the table, presences you love and presences you have not met yet. Sit with easy attention. The future collaborator whose name will one day be common to you, the neighbor you will help, and who will help you, the friend who will say, take this, it's yours, with a smile that doesn't count value in units, but in the joy of giving right. You do not have to speak. The conversation here is made of agreements, and every agreement is an exhale. In the middle of the table stands a glass bowl. You empty your pockets, actual pockets, or the invisible ones we carry in the body, and lay in them the thin scraps that have taken up space. An old story about what people like me can have. A phrase someone said once that landed in your throat like a stone. The superstition you inherited and never stopped to examine. The glass accepts each piece with the same acceptance that water has for the shape of your hand. Over the bowl, a small pendant lamp sends a warm circle of light. And as that light touches what you have offered, the scraps soften, then vanish like breath on a mirror. In their place, the bowl fills slowly with folded notes, the kind you pass in class to say, you've got this. You unfold one. The handwriting is your own, but kinder than you have permitted. It is safe now. Another supply is a river. You are not upstream or downstream. You are the riverbed. Another, everything that concerns me is resolved in my favor with grace and perfect timing. Your body replies to these messages the way a string replies to the right pitch, vibrating into tune. Beyond the table room, A set of double doors opens with that particular friendliness old houses have when they like you. You step into a courtyard, open to the sky. Vines braid themselves along the walls, and the air holds that blue that happens just before stars say their names. In the center, a fountain. But instead of water, the fountain flows clear light, pooling in a basin and running along shallow channels etched into the stone. You kneel and dip your fingers. The sensation is exactly what your nervous system wanted. Cool, soft, sure. You cup your hands and bring the light to your face. It smells like rain beginning, like lemon zest, like the first page of a book you love. When this light touches you, it carries a quiet message into the cells. Receiving is rest. A small door at the courtyard's edge, half hidden by ivy, opens to a spiral stair. It's lit from below, inviting without urgency. You descend. At the bottom, a room that feels like the inside of a shell, curved and resonant. Shelves line the walls, holding boxes tied with ribbons. Each ribbon is a different shade of green: fern, olive, pistachio, pine. You untie one. Inside the box, bundles of letters that have not yet been sent but are already written. We're pleased to inform you. We'd like to extend. Your application has been accepted. There's been a positive update. We've increased your limit. We've cleared the balance. The letters are dated with dates that make your body unclench. You slide one into your pocket and feel the fabric. Learn a new habit. The habit of carrying good news. Another shelf holds envelopes that are heavier, luxuriously so, their paper thick as promise. You open one and find a check. The amount substantial, but more importantly, the memo line says exactly what your heart would have written if it had been asked. For ease, for time, for breathing room, for the yes you said. Each check is already endorsed by you, and as your thumb brushes your own signature, you feel the jolting sweetness of not having to justify being provided for. You are provided for because life wants to continue through you, and wealth is one of the ways it hydrates its favorite fields. A soft vibration hums under your feet. You realize the whole house sits on a network of channels like the fountains, carrying these provisions outward. They do not pool and stagnate. They move, they circle, they return. The floor hum is a low, friendly note, like a cat purring on a window ledge in late sun. You stand very still and let that note set your internal tempo. The spiral stair rises to a door that opens onto a narrow balcony overlooking the lane. Night has arrived proper now. The sky is salted with stars. The lane glows faintly, as though dusted with ground pearl. You rest your hands on the railing and feel a pleasant weight settle in the center of each palm. A coin of warm light, one in the left, one in the right. On their faces is the same mark you found in the quiet mint of your imagination before, an open hand over a calm wave. You turn the coins and read the words that the metal has somehow learned to speak. Already enough. Always more. You don't toss the coins. You place them on the railing and watch as they melt like butter into the air. Stitching themselves into scenes, you recognize a message pinging your phone with a deposit. A conversation that ends with "let me introduce you to," an invoice paid ahead of schedule, a refund you had forgotten, a door you didn't know existed because it never needed to be there until now. The threads do their quiet work, and you are not required to manage them. You wander deeper into the house, which grows larger the more you trust it. A room with a grand piano waits, it's lit up like a sail catching moonlight. You touch a single key, and the room blooms with a chord so sure and round that your mind stops talking just to hear it. The chord sustains. Layers join it. A low note that feels like foundation, a mid-note that feels like welcome, a high note that feels like bright windows on winter afternoons. The music folds into your breath until you can't tell which is carrying which. Wealth has a sound. It is not harsh. It is not brittle. It is the resonance of things that belong together, finding each other. When the last overtone fades, a corridor opens that was not there before. Its walls are lined with mirrors. But these are not the sort that ask you to critique your reflection. These mirrors show you your state. In each you see yourself as the one who knows their needs are met before they arise, the one whose yes is solid and whose no is simple and kind, the one who does not bargain with their worth. You meet your own gaze and hold it. There is a feeling that passes between the you on the inside of your eyes and the you in the mirror. Recognition without performance. The mirror doesn't flatten you into a single angle. It rounds you into wholeness. You nod at yourself, and the mirror nods back. A contract is signed without paper. Through another doorway, you find a studio that smells faintly of orange oil and clean linen. Long tables hold stacks of heavy paper, and rollers rest like sleeping dolphins along the edges. You understand without instruction, this is where you print your day. You ink a roller, not with pigment, but with sensation, ease, sufficiency, overflow, generosity, stewardship, and you draw it across the paper. As you do, images rise, you moving through errands with time. To pause where the light on a storefront delights you, you opening your banking app and feeling that glad, simple spread in your chest. You taking a call on a walk under trees and hearing the sentence, "We'd love to pay you for this." You paying someone quickly because you enjoy how it feels to be part of their river. You stack the prints and hang them to dry on a line that runs along the ceiling. As the pages sway, the room fills with a soft breeze that smells inexplicably like fresh pears. You laugh because of course it does. The joy is unpretentious here. You find a small door painted the color of a leaf's underside. Inside, a narrow room with a single chair facing a window. On the sill, a clay bowl holding smooth stones. Each stone is engraved with a word. You pick one up, receiving. Another. Trust. Another. Enough. You place them in your pockets, their rounded weight landing you squarely in your hips, in your feet, in the now. The window looks out over a garden lit by discreet lanterns. At the far edge, a low gate stands open, as though it always meant for you to pass through. You step out into the garden and walk the path your feet already know. The garden's beds are edged with thyme and lavender. Your calves brush their soft uprisings, and scent returns your attention to your body again and again. Small brass plaques sit on rods beside certain plants. You read them as you pass, the call you've been expecting. The project with ease in every part. The timing that surprises you with its kindness. You kneel beside a bed that is simply labeled space and press your palm to the soil. It is warm. The ground under your hand hums with the same note you felt through the floors of the house. Space is wealth too. At the end of the path, a bench waits beneath a fig tree whose leaves make a sound like slow applause when the breeze finds them. You sit. The night presses its cool face to your forehead. You close your eyes, not to escape, but to feel more. Your breath slides into the cadence that carries you towards sleep, toward that holy threshold where declarations sink easily into the subconscious, because the watchman at the gate has taken his rest. In this near sleep, you say very little. You let the house speak for you. The front door whispers, "Welcome back, always." The hall of frames whispers, "Paid in full." The table whispers, "It is safe now." The fountain whispers, "Receiving is rest." The studio whispers, "You print your day." The mirrors whisper, "You are the one who knows." The balcony whispers, "Already enough, always more." The garden whispers, "Space." Your body hears all of it, and each word finds its home in a place where a knot used to live. Let a simple, present tense sentence rise through you. Not shouted, not pushed, just placed, the way you place a lamp where you'll want its light later. I am wealthy now. Let it sit in the bowl of your lower ribs. Let it slow your heart to a steady warmth. Let it help your jaw forget the shape of holding. I am provided for now. Let it lengthen your exhale. I receive with ease. Let it soften your belly. I give with joy. Let it warm your hands. I circulate light faithfully. Let it settle into your feet. Thank you. It is done. Let it be the blanket pulled up to your collarbone. When you stand, the house rises with you, not to impose, but to accompany. You walk slowly back through rooms that will not close when you leave them. They will continue their work, whether or not you watch. That is the nature of true provision. It does not require your vigilance, only your consent. The front door opens onto the jasmine lane, and you step out feeling the house behind you like a sure hand between your shoulder blades. The keys in your pocket make no sound, but their presence is certain. They will grow warm whenever you approach a door that wants you. As you return to the soft field of your resting body, bring the hum with you. Bring the scent of rain almost. Bring the sensation of brass warming to your palm. Bring the sight of stamps, rearranging themselves into the truth that was always waiting for permission to be true. Return with the way your name looks when written by a kinder hand. Return with the exactly right weight of paid in full. Settle. The pillow has become more generous. The room around you has learned to be a little quieter. The breath within you has chosen the right pace. For a few moments more, listen for the house, not with your ears, but with the part of you that learned the chord by heart. One low note of foundation, one middle note of welcome, one high note like bright windows on winter afternoons. Altogether they spell the same thing in a language older than worry. You are supplied. If you wish, touch two fingers lightly to the center of your chest and feel the response from inside. A soft knock you know how to open for 1, 2, 3. Answer it with a small smile. Only you will feel. The rest can be simple now. The river knows its bed. The keys know their doors. The light knows its roots. Your only task is the easiest one. Consent. Rest. The house of quiet keys continues its work. Your life is its hallway. Its fountain runs through your hours. Its frames hang in the air you walk. Its stamps travel with you in your pockets. The message repeats without effort and without end. Already enough, always more. Sixth visualization. The harbor of returning tides. Settle your shoulders, let your jaw slacken, and feel your tongue rest like a small boat on a quiet inlet. Inhale as though your ribs were shutters, opening to the sea breeze. Exhale like the tide easing back over smooth sand. With each breath, your body remembers how to be spacious. With each exhale, the day loosens its grip and recedes like a wave that knows it will return, carrying more. Ahead of you stretches a harbor at blue hour, that soft ink between sunset and night when colors become kind. Lanterns hang from wooden posts, their light honey warm on the water. The surface is a silk mirror, whispering ripples where small boats rock in place. The air smells faintly of salt and warm rope and citrus peel. Somewhere a bell chimes the hour with no urgency at all. You walk along the pier, and the wood beneath your feet is old, in the best way, seasoned, trustworthy, tuned by decades of safe arrivals. The harbor knows you. It recognizes the cadence of your steps, the way you listen before you move. As you reach the first mooring, a painted skiff nudges the dock with affection, as if to say, "You're right on time." Its name is written in a hand you know, Provision. You touch the paint with the back of your fingers and feel the quiet hum beneath, the engine of life that runs on yes. Inside the skiff, neat crates are strapped with soft webbing. Each is stamped with a simple word: ease, overflow, timing, paid, approval. The rope is already untied. All that remains is consent. You kneel, unbuckle the first web strap, and lift the lid of ease. The scent that rises is like linen dried in sunlight, like the first morning after rain. Inside are folded moments, simple and perfect. A bill opened with no quickening in the chest. An email that says we've processed your payment ahead of schedule. A calendar week that breathes. You place a palm over the folds, and your body translates the meaning into sensation. Shoulders sliding down, breath widening low in the belly. A soft, confident weight settling in your hands. This is how abundance speaks when it is telling the truth. It speaks in how your muscles let go. You open overflow. It shimmers like warm light on shallow water, coin bright without being sharp. Not just money, but more than enough time, more than enough help, more than enough kindness. You feel the difference between plenty and excess. Plenty is generous, sane, humane. Excess is brittle and loud. What sits in this crate is the first one, the kind that lets you give without keeping score. You smile because your nervous system recognizes what it's always wanted. Room, crate by crate, you lift the lids and let each message rewrite the script in your cells. Timing teaches your heart to trust that arrivals happen when they can bless you most. Fate settles into your bones like a steady drum. Done, done. Approval stamps itself in your chest with the soft click of a latch fitting perfectly. Each time a click lands, an old knot unknots quietly, then dissolves, then is simply not there. You stand, and the harbor opens wider. Along the quay, other craft tug at their lines, each painted with names that make you exhale. Right place, right people, right price. Gentle, yes. Clean, no. You step into a boat named Gentle Yes, and it carries you without jolt into the center of the water where the reflections of lanterns draw long golden paths. Your fingertips skim the surface. The harbor is warm to the touch, like a bath drawn for a child on a winter night. Under your hand, the water thrums with a tone so low and friendly you feel it in your sternum. It is the note of provision moving toward you as if you were its home. Across the water, a lighthouse turns, sending a measured sweep of white that writes a soft sentence on the dark, I am. With each rotation, the sentence completes itself silently in you. I am safe now, I am wealthy now, I am received now, I am allowed now. The beam is not a spotlight demanding performance. It is a rhythm that keeps timing with your breath. You do not have to chase it. You only have to let it pass through you and leave its signature. A gull drifts by without flapping. The bell sounds once more. Closer now, a pleasant single note that asks nothing, promises everything. On the far side of the harbor, a boathouse opens like a book. You drift toward it and step onto the worn planks of its threshold. Inside, the air smells of cedar and orange wax, rope and rain. Racks line one wall holding oars carved from pale wood. Each handle is engraved with a word where your palms would rest. Receiving, stewardship, gratitude, worthiness, circulation. You wrap your hands around receiving and worthiness just to feel how true they fit. They feel like objects you loved as a child, completely natural, exactly your size, made for you before you asked. Opposite the oars is a long workbench. The ledger lies open. Thick paper, generous margins, a fountain pen resting in the fold. The columns are simple. In, out, kept, given, seeded. But what fills them is not numbers alone. The ink here is sensation. You write in, and your breath widens. You write out, and your heart stays calm. Because out is circulation, not loss. You write kept, and you feel your lower back soften into support. You write given, and your hands warm, your face warms. The part of your chest that learns songs by ear hums a little. You write seeded, and the future sends back a green scent through time. The ledger does not ask you to prove anything. It records what is already true in a language your body trusts. Beside the ledger rests a small brass stamp. You lift it and press it into an ink pad that is not quite visible and not at all mysterious. You bring it down on a stack of papers that once belonged to worry, and the stamp leaves a clean mark, cleared. The letters aren't aggressive. They're final in the gentlest way, like a friend who closes a door for you, so the draft won't touch your neck. Beyond the bench, a set of sliding doors open onto a narrow balcony, right above the slow mouth of the harbor, where water enters and water returns. Here you find a basket of flat river stones, each one smooth as thought after meditation. On one side of each stone, a phrase has been brushed in saltwater ink. You turn the top stone, money enjoys finding me. The next, I receive before I need. The next, payments love to arrive early. The next, my yes is lined with ease. You place 4 stones along the rail, and as the next breeze lifts, The ink rises like mist, then settles onto the water itself, traveling outward in concentric circles so gentle you would miss them if you were hurrying. You are not hurrying. You watch the sentences move into the harbor, and you feel the harbor answering with a million small agreements. You return to the oars, place receiving in your left hand, and circulation in your right, feeling the slight difference in their balance, the way they teach your body the rhythm of in and out, hand and hand. You step back into gentle yes and row without effort. The oars kiss the surface, and with each stroke you repeat a quiet sentence inside that does not sound like effort. It sounds like marrow. I am already provided for. I am already provided for. The boat glides along a lane of light, and you pass under a rope where small tags flutter like prayer flags. You lift one as you go. It reads paid in full, and when your fingertip touches the letters, somewhere in the outer world, a transaction finishes. A balance zeros, a file closes, a nervous system sighs. You don't need to know where. You can feel the release, find you anyway, the way a lullaby finds a whole house, not just one room. The harbor's far pier is built of pale stone, warm from the day. You step onto it, and a doorway opens in the seawall, where you hadn't seen any door. Inside, a long gallery lit by skylights. On one side, niches hold small models of bridges, wood, rope, steel, stone, each labeled with a memory of how you were carried before. The friend who called at the right moment, the job that arrived when you were ready. The bill that was forgiven. The path you didn't know until your feet were on it. You run your fingertips along the little rails, feeling your skepticism dissolve in the face of evidence you had set aside because it didn't look big enough to count. It counts now. It always counted. The gallery quietly rearranges your ability to expect good. On the other side, niches hold miniature lighthouses. You press a switch on each, and they light not just the models, but a corresponding place inside you, the place that knows your worth is not a poker chip, the place that knows generosity is a current that returns, the place that understands money is a language. And you were fluent before anyone taught you to doubt your accent. You stay until each lighthouse finds its rhythm. The gallery becomes a choir of slow-moving light. At the end of the hall, a wooden door with a round glass window opens to a room so still you hear the gloss of your own blink. Here, a long table with an oilcloth map. But the map is not cities and roads. It is tides and moons. Lines curl and widen, showing ebbs and surges, the way resources move when no one is trying to discipline them into straightness. A brass pointer rests on a small stand. You set it over the place that corresponds to you, and it begins to rotate with a pace that soothes every frantic habit you've learned. It ticks not seconds, but satisfactions. It points not north, but enough. You watch until your body is pointing there too. A hatch above you opens to the roof. You climb a short ladder and stand where the boathouse grows, a small garden. Rosemary, lemon balm, mint. You rub a leaf between finger and thumb and lift its brightness to your face. The stars have gathered closer. The lighthouse's slow eye is steady, and the harbor is black silk stitched with gold. A low wind moves through your hair like a friendly hand, not arranging, just acknowledging. You sit on the warm roof and let memory arrive of times money scared you and you survived, of times it surprised you and you laughed, of times you gave and grew. Each memory takes the shape of a small paper boat. You place them in a shallow basin of rainwater collected along the parapet. One by one they soften, then unfurl, and what remains is a thin thread of light left on your fingertips, which you wind around your wrist like a bracelet that hums softly, "You're okay, you're okay." You descend and return to the pier. Now the tide is turning outward, not leaving you, simply completing the circle that wealth loves, out and in and out. The boats that arrived begin to go, lighter by what they have given, carrying with them what you've sent across the water. Your gratitude, your clean agreements. your willingness to be part of other people's paid in full. You feel the sweetness of being a harbor, not just a receiver of goods, but a giver of safety, a shape the world can lean against. Before you go, the harbor offers you something in its plain way. A small pouch, soft leather, the size of your palm. Inside, not coins, but round tokens of warm metal, each stamped with a sentence that writes itself into how you move. One says, I am a calm steward. Another, I receive with ease. Another, money is my ally. Another, my decisions are blessed. You slide them into your pocket and they do not weigh you down. They anchor you gently, the way a hand on your back, steadying you on a boat, isn't pressure but guidance. You walk the pier back toward shore. The lantern light brushes your cheek, and you can taste a little salt on your lips, though you did not swim. The bell sounds once more, and it sounds like it is done in a language that has no verbs for panic. You step onto land, and it feels like stepping into a pair of shoes that have always fit. Return now to the room where your body rests. The mattress remembers you. The pillow drifts you a little deeper. But bring the harbor's tide with you, humming low at the base of your spine, bright at the back of your eyes. Feel the oar handles in your palms, receiving, circulation. Feel the ledger's ink in your breath. In, out, kept, given, seeded. Feel the stamp warming in your chest, cleared. Feel the lighthouse sweep. I am wealthy now. I am provided for now. I am received now. I am allowed now. Let each sentence settle where it belongs. One in your belly, one in your ribs, one in your throat, one in your jaw. Let them make a home, not a display. As sleep begins to open its wide door, give it a simple offering, placed like a shell on a windowsill. I receive while I rest. I receive while I rest. I receive while I rest. Let the words become the way your bones lie on the mattress, the way your breath leaves and returns without negotiation. The harbor is working. The boats know their routes. The bell knows the hour. The tide knows both ways. You are carried. If a thought rises to test the door, greet it kindly, and let it sit on the pier to watch the lanterns a while. You don't need to solve it. The map of tides has already moved its hand. All you need to do is what wealth loves best, consent. And the consent is easy, because your body has learned the chord, a low note of foundation, a middle note of welcome, a high note like morning on still water. The chord writes itself through you as you drift. The lighthouse completes another sweep. The bell says good night. The harbor keeps what you've received and returns what you give. And in the most ordinary, holy way, you sleep inside the tide that returns with more. Seventh visualization. The atrium of quiet agreements. Let your shoulders soften, as if they've been listening all day, and now they're finally being heard. Let the back of your tongue relax from the teeth. Feel your jaw hinge unhook the way a door eases when the house settles for the night. Breathe in through the nose, and notice how the cool air lifts the top of your chest. Breathe out through the mouth, and let the breath feel warm and generous, like steam leaving a bath. With each exhale, the body chooses the simpler path. You arrive at an atrium that belongs to evening. Glass arches form a gentle dome overhead, panes held by bronze ribs that have weathered into soft green. Night hangs above like deep velvet. A few first stars show through the glass, and somewhere between the stars and the atrium, a pattern of lights hums quietly, a constellation arranged just for you. The air inside is warm but not heavy, scented with orange blossom paper and the faint mineral calm of a fountain. The floor under your feet is old limestone, smooth from thousands of easy footfalls. It remembers people who walked in with questions and walked out, carrying answers shaped like permission. In the center of the atrium, there's a circular pool, not big, not small, rimmed with white marble. Water rises at the center of the pool, in a clear thread, and falls back with a sound that is not quite music, not quite heartbeat, both. The surface keeps writing and erasing the same soft circles. Around the pool are long tables of oiled wood. Their surfaces hold quiet instruments of certainty. Small brass lamps with linen shades, trays of envelopes tied in silk thread, A press that looks like it stamps outcomes with peace instead of force. You walk to the nearest table and rest your fingertips on the wood. It is warm. The kind of warm that means a long day of sunlight sank in, and is now returning itself to you. A linen folder lies there with your name written in a hand that isn't fancy, but is unquestionably sure. You slide the ribbon loose and open the folder. Inside are thin sheets, the color of morning milk. Each page has a single line, not a demand, not a to-do, but a sentence that reads like a promise fulfilled. Money arrives before it is needed. Payments complete themselves. Help shows up without being begged. The words aren't printed in ink. They are pressed into the paper, as if the truth leaned its weight until the page remembered. You place your palm over the first line. Money arrives before it is needed, and feel the sensation it calls into your body. Your abdomen unclenches first, then the muscles along your lower back soften, then a tiny furrow you didn't realize you were holding between your eyebrows releases like a knot slid loose with patient fingers. You aren't reciting, your body is reading. It reads safety and answers by expanding. A soft footfall moves in the atrium, not a person but the evening itself. Taking a step closer, you look up. At the edge of the pool stands a clock you've never seen before. Where numbers might be, there are small circles of light that pulse in a slow, friendly sequence. Where hands might be, there is a ribbon of gold thread that moves like a tide, not ticking forward, not counting down, simply flowing around the face and returning. This is the clock that keeps the hours of enough. When you look at it, your breath begins to keep time with it. In, and the ribbon moves toward you. Out, and it returns with more. Between two columns a vine climbs, glossy leaves catching the lamplight. Strung along the vine are paper tags like pale flags. You touch one and it flutters down. On it, written by no pen you can see, one word: cleared. You smile without needing to understand the mechanics. You tuck the tag into your pocket and it warms there like a smooth stone heated by sun. A cart rolls toward you, as if it learned to move by listening for you rather than watching you. It carries a porcelain pot and two small cups, white with hairline cracks that make their own quiet map. The pot pours for you without a hand. The tea smells like orange peel and toasted grain. You sip. That first swallow spreads through your chest the way a promise becomes a fact. With each sip, a little more of the day lets go. The atrium is not asking you to work. It is asking you to agree. You cross to the press. It is simple, beautiful, two brass plates and a lever that lowers with the weight of a nod. A stack of cards rests beside it. You pick up the top card. It is blank, except for a faint watermark that appears when you tilt it. I am provided for. You slide the card between the plates and bring the lever down. The press doesn't clank, it sighs, a low content sound like a door closing gently in a well-built room. You lift the plate and the card now bears a clean, raised seal. Paid in full. The letters are soft at the edges, as if someone sanded away, hurry. You hold the card against your palm, and your palm reads it the way it read the lines in the folder. Something inside you responds with a clear, settled yes that doesn't ask for debate. Lamps around the atrium brighten a fraction, and you notice new doors you hadn't seen tucked between the columns, each door arched and painted in colors that feel like flavors. Fig, sage, cream, honey. You choose honey, and it chooses you back. The door opens without creak to a room that looks like a study any kindly grandfather might keep, and like a sanctuary any clear-eyed child might invent. One wall is a shelf of ledgers bound in cloth, the color of places at dusk. You slide one free. It opens itself to a page, waiting for your fingertip. The columns are simple. In, out, kept, given, seeded, blessed. But you don't see numbers. You feel them. When you trace in, your throat opens, and your breath drops lower. When you trace out, your hands warm. Your shoulders stay relaxed. Your mind does not tighten, because out here means circulation, not loss. Kept feels like a chair that supports perfectly. Given feels like laughter from the belly. Seeded smells like rain on dry earth before it falls. Blessed is the hush that arrives in a room when two people forgive each other without needing to say the exact words. On the desk sits a bowl of tokens, the size of large coins. Each is cut from simple wood and smoothed. Each bears a single phrase carved shallow, and then brushed with gold leaf that glows as if it remembers sunlight. My worth is not a debate. Ease is allowed in my decisions. Receipts arrive early. I am trusted with more. Money enjoys my care. You take the last one and roll it between thumb and first finger. Its edges press a message into your skin that travels up your arm and into your chest. You aren't convincing yourself. You are receiving yourself. You return to the atrium and a soft breeze moves through, not from outside, but from the future walking in. The fountain thread lifts a little higher, and when it falls back, it begins to speak in syllables made of water. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The water does not interrogate outcomes, it greets them. You let the sound arrange your breath so that your inhale is a welcome and your exhale is a release. With each exhale, something leaves without drama, an old timeline that required struggle, a story that taught you you are late, a rule that demanded you earn permission through exhaustion. Benches circle the pool, their wood satiny from care. You sit, and the glass dome mirrors your outline back to you. Resting, receptive, already chosen. Shadows move across the floor, like clouds across a field. They aren't ominous, they're soft, changing, proving that light is in charge. High above, tiny panes in the glass are etched with faint symbols. If you squint, they look like constellations. If you relax your eyes, they look like line items that say yes, in 1,000 small hands. Someone has left a basket near your bench, woven from straw and quiet competence. Inside are sealed envelopes, heavy in a way that means fullness rather than burden. Each envelope is stamped not with a company's mark, but with a feeling. Relief, ease, gratitude. Surprise, you lift one labeled ease and hold it to your heart. Your heart opens the envelope without your fingers. Inside, nothing you need to memorize. Inside is air that smells like a kitchen, when someone who loves you bakes, something that reminds you of mornings you thought were gone. Ease enters you by nose, then throat, then lungs, and chooses a chair in your rib cage and sits down like a friend who doesn't need to fill silence. You stand and walk slowly along the arc of the pool. As you pass each column, a quiet click happens at shoulder height. The click of a latch that used to catch, and now slides clean. The click of a door settling into a frame that fits. The click of a pen springing because the cap found home. The clicks register deeper than ears. They land in the solar plexus, and your body translates each one into a sentence. That's handled, that's approved, that's moving, that's done. Where the atrium opens to a side arcade, a long table is set with objects ready to be chosen. Not luxury, not austerity. Rightness. A wallet that feels like it learned your pockets before you met. A journal that wants only truths you can live. A pen that makes your name look like relief when you sign. A key that feels warm in the palm even sitting on the table. You don't need to pick them up. Simply standing near them teaches your nervous system a new posture. No reaching, no defending, no bargaining. Just choosing, from the center outward. Across from the table, a tall cabinet holds drawers labeled with ordinary words that have been quietly repaired. Rent, tuition, insurance, gifts, groceries, travel, fun. You slide open one drawer and it's lined with felt the color of ripe pears. Inside, tidy stacks of envelopes already addressed to the right place. Each envelope's flap is open, waiting like a mouth that's about to speak a blessing. You close the drawer and hear the softest chime as it shuts, a sound like a china cup touched lightly by a finger. The sound tells your body that money and care are friends, not competitors. You return to the center, A low table has appeared at the rim of the pool. On it lies a length of ribbon that looks like night distilled, deep blue threaded with barely there gold. Attached to one end is a small card, blank, and a fountain pen with a nib that gleams like a good decision. You sit, and the pen rests against your fingers as if it has been here before. You write carefully, not because you're worried about mistakes, but because each stroke feels like placing a stone in a path you will walk with bare feet. I am wealthy now. The ribbon drinks the words as if they were water. You lift the card and pass the ribbon through the press. The lever lowers with that same content sigh. When you lift it, the words are raised and tender like new bark. You read them once with your eyes, and then you read them again with the skin of your chest. They feel correct. They feel deserved without argument. They feel like the truth you were saying quietly under all the other noise. The ribbon knows what to do. It leaves your hands and travels up along the column nearest you, climbs the bronze rib of the atrium like ivy that learned to write, and threads itself across the glass. As it moves, the tiny etched panes where your yes lives brighten one after another, like a path lit by small hands holding lanterns. The ribbon crosses the dome and returns, and as it returns, it lays itself gently along your shoulders like a shawl. The blue is cool, the gold is warm. Wrapped there, you feel the contrast dissolve. Enoughness is soft and strong at once. You stand and walk to the press one last time. A stack of cards waits there, already bearing the names of situations you once named complicated. You don't read them. You don't need to perform understanding. You lower the lever, slow and steady, once for each card. Sigh, lift, sigh, lift. Each impression lands, and as it lands, your body feels a small lift at the base of the skull, a widening at the back of the heart, a settling in the hips. Without looking, you know what each card now says. Cleared, resolved, completed, released, blessed. You stack them and lay your palm on top. Heat passes from the cards into your hand, and then into your forearm, your shoulder, your chest. Heat that doesn't agitate, only reassures. The warmth of bread, the warmth of a hand held, the warmth of a room where winter stays polite outside. You return to the bench. The atrium is even quieter now, not empty, satisfied. The fountain's voice is lower, closer to dream. The clock's gold ribbon keeps flowing. Above, the stars have taken their positions with the casual certainty of beings who never rush. Through the glass, one star brightens and threads a thin beam through a pane down a column, across the floor, and stops exactly at the center of your sternum. It doesn't pierce, it rests. You let your shoulders roll a fraction to make more room for the light. Your breath meets it, and they agree, easily, to keep time. Let the sentence you wrote on the card become the way your whole frame is held. I am wealthy now. Let it be the weight of your head in the pillow, the slack in your jaw, the length of your spine. Let it be the way your hands lie, soft and open. Let it be the way your feet release their plans. Let it be the way your belly trusts gravity. This is not a chant, it is posture. It is how you occupy the room of yourself when you don't need to audition for belonging. If thoughts come to check your work, offer them a seat by the pool. They can watch the water making circles without you. If a memory knocks, point to the cabinet of drawers and the felt-lined envelopes, waiting with their mouths open in blessing. If a question hovers about timing, let the gold thread on the clock answer by flowing in a simple loop. Not soon, not later, enough. As the edges of the room soften and the lamps dim on their own, give the atrium a last honest sentence that fits through the doorway of sleep without snagging. I receive while I rest. Whisper it once and watch the fountain echo. Whisper it a second time and feel the bench approve. Whisper it a third time and let your bones understand that they are allowed to be heavy while money moves lightly on your behalf. The glass dome above holds the sky for you. The gold ribbon keeps its loop. The press remembers your hands. The ledgers hum their contentment in cloth and thread. The envelopes wait at the right edges of the right drawers, already addressed. The atrium does not close. It continues as you continue. Present even when you're not noticing. Your breath lowers into the deep part of you that handles receiving without asking permission. Your heart keeps the slow meter of paid. Your mind unclenches from the need to count and is counted for. Sleep opens the wide door, and you step through without needing to look back. You do not fall. You are laid down. You do not lose control. You hand the lever to the law that loves to sigh when you say yes. The fountain keeps speaking one word in water as you go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Eighth, visualization. Let the inside corners of your eyes soften. Let your tongue rest heavy in the cradle of your mouth. Breathe in through your nose as if the air were velvet. Breathe out through your lips as if you were cooling tea for someone you love. Feel how the exhale lengthens all by itself. Feel how your ribs widen like curtains, parting for moonlight. There is nothing to hold up now. Gravity is your ally. A low, friendly sound approaches in the distance, steel whispering to steel, a rhythm older than your worries. A night train glides into view, painted a deep midnight blue that drinks starlight and gives it back as a quiet glow. On its side, in small gold letters, a single promise you can feel more than read, plenty on time. A porter in a soft gray uniform tips his cap without asking you any questions. He gestures you aboard as if you've always had a berth here. Inside, the air is cool and smells faintly of cedar and clean linen. Your compartment door opens with the hush of something that fits perfectly. The room is simple and deliberate. A wide window framing the night, a built-in desk with round corners, a small brass lamp whose light understands softness, a narrow wardrobe that hides a robe lined with patience. The bed has the kind of weight that tells your body, I'll carry you. As you sit, the mattress answers with a gentle, confident give, and every small muscle along your spine sighs its relief. The train hums forward, and the wheels begin their language. Now, 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 now. With every your shoulders drop a millimeter. With every now, a crease in your mind smooths. You don't need to keep time. The track does that for you. Outside, the world moves like a film slowed to kindness. Fields silvered by moon. A thin river turning itself into ribbon. Clusters of lights that look like villages practicing gratitude. On the fold-out table rests a ledger unlike any you've held, bound in dark cloth, that remembers warm hands, pages thick and cream-colored, edges gilded, not for show, but for ease. You open to the first page. There are no numbers yet, only headings pressed into the paper, so gently you discover them by touch, rather than sight. Received, released, circulated, multiplied, blessed. You lay your left hand flat on received, and your palm warms as if a hearth chose to answer you. A pulse in your wrist takes on the train's rhythm. You are not counting, you are consenting. A soft knock, and the conductor steps in. He is ageless in the way of things that have seen many good outcomes. In place of a ticket punch, he carries a small, weighty stamp. Its handle is smooth with use. Its brass plate is engraved with a word you already trust. Cleared. He doesn't speak. He simply sets a stack of envelopes on the table. Familiar shapes, once the cause of tight throats and late nights. He lifts the stamp and brings it down with a sound like a well-made book closing. Cleared. The vibration is not loud. It travels through the wood into your hands and up your arms and settles behind your heart. He stamps another. Cleared. With each impression, your lower belly loosens. Your front teeth stop touching. Your breath becomes heavier in the best way. The conductor nods as if to confirm what your body already knows. The burden has changed address. The window darkens, and as if in answer, the glass becomes more than a view. It becomes an instrument. Numbers appear, not demands, not threats, just gentle figures that rise the way. Tide rises, as if drawn by something faithful and far away. Your accounts are not shouting, they are breathing. The balances increase at a pace that matches your exhale. slow, steady, unargumentative. You watch without gripping. You feel a new sentence arrange itself in the quiet at the base of your skull. I am wealthy now. You don't say it out loud. You let it find a chair inside your chest and sit with perfect posture, perfectly at ease. The porter returns with a tray, not silver, maple rubbed with oil, until it glows like late afternoon. On it, a small pot of something that smells like roasted barley and orange peel. A cup, and a little dish of figs sliced into crescent moons. You pour. The liquid is dark and honest. The first sip moves through you the way a well-timed yes moves through a conversation. Warmth expands behind your sternum and travels down the ladder of your ribs. It pauses in your solar plexus long enough to unbutton something that got fastened too tight for too long. The train enters a long viaduct, and the sound changes to a calming hollow hush, as if you are moving through the inside of a bell that only knows one note. Enough. In that sound, you become aware of the other cars, what they carry, where they'll stop. Each car is an income stream with its own personality, its own schedule, its own manners, and all of them are courteous. One carries payments for work already done, grateful payments that arrive early because the people on the other end enjoy the feeling of sending them. One carries royalties, small and large, that stack like smooth stones along a riverbed. One carries gifts you didn't earn, because gifts by definition do not ask for proof. One carries opportunities that feel like a coat cut to your exact shape. No tugging, no fidgeting, no pretending. You leave your compartment and stroll the corridor. The carpet is deep and forgiving. Your footsteps are permission. You pass a car where quiet deals are being written in the language of mutual benefit. There are no sharp pens here, only fountain nibs that glide. Each clause contains a blessing you can feel in your diaphragm. In another car, packages are being sorted by invisible hands, each wrapped in brown paper and tied with twine, each tagged in a calm hand for her, for now, for later, for joy. You don't need to open them to know they're right. Receiving has become a sense like taste or balance. You are good at it. At the end of the corridor is a door with a round window. You open it and step onto a small observation platform at the rear of the train. The rush of night air is cool and precise, like someone honest entering a room. The wake of the train is a pair of gleaming rails pouring backward into dark. The tie's a metronome. You lean your forearms on the rail and feel the vibration reorganize your thinking into simpler shelves. The landscape slipping away is everything you no longer have to carry. Old stories of almost, rules that were never yours, the grip of timetable and tally. They move into distance the way fog yields to morning, quietly, completely, without needing applause. When you return to your compartment, the wardrobe has left a different robe for you, weighty, soft, trimmed in a thin line of gold at the cuffs. You shrug into it and understand dignity without effort. The robe smells faintly of cedar and fresh paper money, not the sharp smell of ink, but the clean promise of cellulose and linen fibers, pressed into something that moves through hands and leaves them better. In the mirror above the small sink, your face looks like someone who has nothing to prove. You sit at the desk. The ledger is open to a fresh page. Without thinking, your hand picks up the pen. You write a line as if you were transcribing what the rails have been saying since the first village light blinked past. Funds land easily before they are needed. You don't force the sentence to be beautiful. It already is, because it's true. Beneath it, your hand writes again, slower. Money is my ally, because I am its ally. Your breath drops deeper. The pen continues. I receive while I rest. I am wealthy now. You stop not because you've run out of good words, but because you've run out of the need to convince. The conductor appears once more, as if summoned by completion. He doesn't take the ledger. He places a small brass key on the table, heavy enough to matter, small enough to carry without thinking. On its tag, a single word stamped into leather. Access. You curl your fingers around the key and your palm understands that doors have changed their mind about you. Not a pass, a passport. The train begins to slow. Outside the window, a station approaches, all lamps and stone and the practical romance of arrivals done right. On the platform, a line of small kiosks stands open, each tended by someone with wise hands. Their awnings are painted in colors that taste like fruit: plum, pear, quince, apricot. As the train glides to a stop, you see the names written neatly on each awning: rent, tuition, insurance, generosity, travel, play. The words don't tighten your stomach anymore. They warm your hands. You step down to the platform. At each kiosk, a familiar face greets you, someone from the archive of your life, whose presence always meant competence. They hand you envelopes, thick with completion, and smile as if they've been waiting to witness you in this ease. Each exchange is unhurried. Each exchange leaves you taller by a few quiet millimeters. The air smells faintly of rain on hot stone. Somewhere, a clock chimes a note that equals yes. Back on board, you find a new object on your table, a small clear bowl full of round glass tokens. They catch light the way water does at noon. You pick one up, it hums faintly against your skin like a bee content on lavender. Etched into its surface, so thin you have to tip it to read, is a phrase: surplus prefers you. Another token: generosity replenishes me. Another: I am the calm custodian of more than enough. You place 3 tokens in your robe pocket, and they warm like friendly animals. You will forget they are there, and then remember, and smile with your ribs. The train moves again, not toward a destination you have to perform, but through a landscape that keeps offering itself. In the lounge car, someone has left a newspaper folded open to the crossword. Every clue is answered with the same word, and somehow it fits each time: provided. You laugh without sound, and feel the tiny muscles at the corners of your eyes. Remember how to joy without effort. As the night deepens, the lamp dimmer turns itself with the intuition of a bedside guardian. The hum of the rails becomes more intimate, a lullaby for grown people who have put down the tools and kept the wisdom. You slide under the covers and feel how the sheets say yes to your weight. The pillow understands how to cup the hinge of your jaw, how to invite your neck to stop negotiating with tomorrow. Through the window, the moon keeps pace just out of the corner of your eye, like a steady companion who knows the way by heart. Let the sentence that chose you earlier widen until it becomes the shape of your breathing. I am wealthy now. Let it be the shape of your spine, long and unargued. Let it be the slack in your hands and the permission in your ankles. Let it be the slow heaviness that moves down your limbs in waves, each wave wiping a small slate and writing the same clean word: enough. If a thought arrives with a clipboard, show it to the conductor's stamp resting on the table. If a worry peers in, invite it to watch the balances in the glass rise and fall like a tide that is yours and always has been. If a memory of scarcity tries to make a case, open the robe at the chest and let the night air cool that old heat. Scarcity is not admitted to sleeper cars. You don't have to plan what the morning will bring. The train has made arrangements in all the right towns. It will stop where your name is spoken with respect. It will pass by the stations that would ask you to audition. Your job is simple enough for a body at rest: ride, allow, receive, sleep. The rails will hum what you already are. The ledger will dry its ink to a soft shine. The brass key will be where your hand can find it in the dark without fumbling. Breathe in as if your lungs were rooms being aired for a celebration. Breathe out as if candles were being blown out by a child who already has her wish. In the soft space between those two, place this quiet understanding and let it spread the way. Warmth spreads in a well-insulated house. I receive while I rest. The train answers in its old fluent language. Shh, now. Shh, now. Shh, now. The car rocks with a mother's confidence. The night leans its shoulder against your window. The world moves toward you at exactly the right speed. And you, wealthy already, Sleep the kind of sleep that money loves to visit. Ninth, visualization. Let your jaw unhook a few millimeters. Let your tongue rest wide and heavy, as if it were a soft blanket for your breath. Inhale through the nose without trying to be good at it. Exhale through the mouth as though you were fogging a window for a heart you love. The back of your neck lengthens. Your shoulders sink, first the left, then the right, then both together like a curtain, deciding the show is over and the room can be quiet now. In that quiet, a mountain rises underneath you, not as effort, but as support. You are already at its summit, where the air tastes like cold apples and early promises kept. A round building sits here, as if grown from the rock, a stone observatory with a copper dome that has turned the color of patience. The night is large and friendly. Far below, towns glow like bowls of warm sugar. Above, the sky is inked deep. The stars look less like points and more like breath held in place. You push open a heavy door with a handle worn smooth by capable hands. Inside, the scent is old wood. Tonight is old wood, clean dust, a hint of oil, and the last page of a favorite book. The floor is dark planks that hush your steps. The whole room feels tuned to one intention, to receive light. Instruments rest along the circular wall. A brass telescope wider than your shoulders, a control panel with round dials labeled in a script that feels familiar to your bones. Clarity, ease, enough, circulation. In the center hangs a long pendulum on a black silk thread. With each swing, it writes a small arc in the air, a soft, unhurried metronome for your ribs. You step beneath the dome and feel it notice you the way a grand piano notices a pianist's hands. The telescope isn't pointed toward a single star. It is set to wide. You don't put your eye to it. You place your palm on the cool brass near the mount. The metal returns your heat and wakes a hum, not noise, but agreement. As your breath lengthens, the dome responds. A segment of copper roof slides aside with a whisper. Night opens like a thoughtful book to the exact page you meant to reread. You take one breath and touch the dial marked clarity. It turns with polite resistance. The sky sharpens. A scatter of stars arranges itself into patterns your mind didn't have a name for until this second. Another breath, and you turn ease. Something in your lower belly lets go. Like a fist you forgot you were making. You turn enough a fraction. The pendulum swings a little wider. Its rhythm matches your exhale here and here and here. No hurry, no chase. Just the law keeping time. Against the inside of the dome, constellations begin to reveal themselves. Not as mythology, but as maps of your income. Each cluster a stream, each star a reliable point along it. You recognize them without remembering when you learned them. There is a constellation that looks like a set of gentle steps. You understand it to be payments for work already done. Honest, on time, arriving with the dignity of a handshake that means something. Another forms a curve like a smile you trust. Royalties and dividends that keep circling back, because value you created keeps waving at the world. A third flickers playfully near the horizon. Unexpected gifts, kindness with no invoice, grace that chose you for no reason other than that it wanted to. You do not plan them. You do not plead with them. You watch the way you would watch a tide, knowing that the moon knows what it's doing. On the control panel is a lever, glass-topped, labeled in small letters. You can read with your fingertips. Receive while I rest. You smile with your diaphragm and press it down. A soft vibration hums through the stone floor. In the wall, hidden gears find their partners and begin a lullaby of effort that is not yours. Above, the dome rotates a degree, then another, aligning itself with something that has always been trying to find you. A low cabinet along the wall holds a drawer with a leather loop. You pull. It slides open to a clean logbook, not the kind that itemizes, but the kind that records only what needs ceremony. The paper is thick and forgiving. You take the fountain pen from its groove and write with a hand that is already unhurried. Funds land easily before they are needed. You pause and feel the sentence settle into the room like a cat into a sun square. The nib moves again. I receive in peace and distribute with joy. One more line appears as if the pen wanted to write it for you. I am wealthy now. You close the book because nothing more is required. The words don't need witnesses. They are their own. At the edge of the room waits a chaise with a wool throw the color of pine needles after rain. You lie down and pull the throw over your legs. It is heavier than it looks, the kind of weight the nervous system reads as safety. Above you, the telescope glides, and the open band of sky pours light slowly, the way honey moves when the jar is still cold. You aren't trying to keep your eyes open or closed. They choose for you, and whatever they choose is correct. The pendulum swings. In the silence between ticks, a low voice you recognize as your own speaks without mouth or throat. It says simple things and means them entirely. I rest, and money moves toward me. I sleep, and value I placed long ago circles back with interest and kindness. I breathe, and what I need arrives early. Each sentence finds a shelf between your shoulder blades. Each shelf becomes a floor. You are building something without lifting a finger. A small door you hadn't noticed connects to a narrow balcony encircling the dome. You step out. The rail is cool beneath your hands. The night presses close in the best way, like a friend who knows when not to talk. You look down. Far below, along the valley floor, rivers reflect the stars. As you watch, small gold lights blossom along the banks like flowers opening to a moon they trust. You know without knowing how that each bloom is an account replenishing, each spark a balance topping itself without drama. You do not decide which first. You do not pick order. You witness order, picking you. A gust shivers the copper gutter, and the breeze brings you a smell you haven't smelled since a morning, when a letter came that changed your month. Paper, ink, and permission. You let that old relief slide through present muscle. Nothing in your body argues. The relief doesn't feel like escape anymore. It feels like posture. You return inside. On the far wall, a large round indicator you thought was decorative has come alive. It is not a clock. It is a compass or surplus. The needle had been idling at enough. As you lay there, it slides into plenty, the way a canoe slides into deeper water. No scrape, no fuss. The needle stays there as if it has been wanting to return to this latitude for a long time. Low shelves around the room hold wooden trays. On each tray sit linen envelopes with wax seals. You pick one up. The seal bears the imprint of an open hand. The paper whispers when you break it, but it is not a bill. It is a note in your own handwriting, written in a year that hasn't happened yet, thanking you for tonight's rest. You laugh once without sound, the way you laugh when life does that thing where it meets you halfway before you've even stepped. You move to the telescope, not to peer, but to place both palms on the barrel and close your eyes. Starlight is falling through the open band and collecting where your hands meet the metal. It warms, then spreads, then pours up your arms into your chest. It is not dramatic. It is not fireworks. It is the temperature of a bath drawn perfectly for someone who has just come home. It gathers behind your sternum, and then, almost shy, it asks if it can keep going. You say yes with your ribs. It moves into your belly, down into your pelvis, into the long bones of your thighs. Your calves accept it as if they have been practicing acceptance secretly. Your feet get heavy, like anchors that have finally touched the bottom and sent the signal, we're held. From somewhere in the dome, maybe the copper ribs, maybe the stone, maybe the night itself, comes a quiet anthem, too simple to be anything but true. Funds circulate because I do. Generosity replenishes me as naturally as breathing. Money is my ally because I am its ally. You don't repeat them. You let them walk around the room like trusted dogs, sniffing the corners, laying down wherever they like. A kettle you didn't set begins to sigh. On a sideboard, a ceramic pot waits, painted with a pattern of wheat and small moons. Beside it, a cup and a tarnished spoon whose wear tells a happy story. You pour hot water over crushed cardamom and orange peel, and something green you can't name, but whose smell is spring in a field behind a childhood house. You stir without hurry. The steam curls your eyelashes a little. The first sip is both warmth and instruction. It tells your organs, in a language they remember. Stand down. The night watch has this. You climb back onto the chaise. The wool throw finds your hip bones and makes peace with them. The pendulum writes its soft curve in the air. Back and back and back. With each swing, a channel opens somewhere in the map of your life. The kind of channel money likes, because it is wide and kind and well lit. You do not need to know their street names. The channels do not require your vigilance. They require your ease. You provide it gladly. The dome shifts a final degree. The opening in the copper roof frames a part of the sky that looks nothing like a check and everything like a blessing. You feel a smile not on your mouth, but in the thin muscles along your collarbones. It spreads backwards toward your shoulder blades and forwards into your throat. Your jaw weights itself, your eyes smooth on the inside. The back of your heart opens its windows, and air that has lived a good life comes in quietly. Let the sentence you invited earlier become wider, like a river moving from canyon to plain. I am wealthy now. Let it be your mattress. Let it be the way your ankles release. Let it be the reason your hands forget their old work and learn an easier kind. Palms open, fingers soft, wrists without armor. As you rest in that, other true sentences arrive and sit at the foot of the bed like guardians who don't need uniforms. Funds arrive early and with grace. I receive while I rest. Everything that leaves returns multiplied because the channel is love. You are not trying to believe them. You are noticing that you do. Belief isn't a weight anymore. It's a buoyancy. When you exhale, your body settles. When you inhale, your body rises a millimeter as though the mattress were a very calm sea. If a thought knocks with a ledger under its arm, let it step into the light and set the book down. The pendulum will sign it and slide it into a tray marked, handled. If an old worry slips under the door, like a draft, hand it a blanket and point it toward a chair near the wall, where most of the drafts live. Watch it get bored and leave. If an urgency shows up speaking fast, flip the glass-topped lever again with your mind. The hum of the wall grows just a little. The urgency remembers someone else's number and wanders off. You don't need to aim the telescope. You don't need to write more lines. The dome knows its work. The mountain holds. The sky continues its patient choreography of provision, of circulation, of enough expanding into plenty, the way night expands into dawn. Breathe in as if the air were wealth being added to your account with a soft, satisfying chime. Breathe out as if your exhale were a receipt, stamp paid in full, not as proof to anyone, but as completeness inside your bones. In that rhythm, your brain cools, your belly warms, and the distance between you and what you are is zero. The pendulum swings. The needle rests in plenty. The lever stays down. The logbook is closed with just enough written. Outside, the stars keep their appointments. Inside, you keep none at all. You do the simplest, richest thing a wealthy nervous system knows how to do. You sleep. And while you sleep, what you've already set in motion finishes arriving. In the morning, your feet will find the floor, and the floor will feel like an ally. Doors will open the way, lids open on jars that want to share what's inside. Conversations will say yes before you ask the question. For now, you don't have to meet morning halfway. Morning is already walking toward you, carrying fresh envelopes and easy humor. Let the room dim by a degree you didn't have to manage. Let the wool throw. Remember the story of your shape. Let the dome be your caretaker, and the mountain your witness. Let wealth do what wealth does when invited by a resting heart. And as sleep takes your hand, quiet, competent, unhurried. Let one true thing glow on your inner horizon, steady as the North Star that every sailor trusts without needing to explain. You are wealthy now. Now that you've walked through these guided journeys, and your mind has learned the quiet rhythm of abundance, it's time to listen to real stories, testimonies from those who dared to believe. These are not theories. These are lives transformed by a simple truth. Imagination creates reality. As you hear their words, let them remind you that the same power resting within them rests within you too. First testimony. How I stopped chasing money and let it find me. I didn't come to this work because I was brave or enlightened. I came because I was cornered. Rent due in 9 days. A lingering credit card balance that always seemed to grow faster than I could chase it. A car whispering it might not start tomorrow. I had a spreadsheet that looked like a crime scene. Cells filled with red and little notes to myself like maybe sell guitar. I was sleeping badly and waking worse. I'd scroll until midnight, close my eyes with my jaw clenched, and somehow be surprised that the next morning looked exactly like the last. A friend sent me your video with the caption, "Listen to this tonight. Do not overthink it." I rolled my eyes so hard I could hear it. But I clicked anyway because I had run out of clever. The first time I played it, I expected fireworks or some mystical surge. Instead, what I got was an hour of being spoken to like a human being. No hype, no scolding, just an invitation to set down the bag I'd been carrying. You said the last thought is a seed and sleep is the soil. That sentence nudged something in me that hadn't moved in months. That night I did one thing differently. I put the phone on airplane mode and set it across the room. I lay on my back, one hand on my belly and one hand on my chest, and I whispered, "I am wealthy." It felt like I was trying on someone else's jacket. It didn't fit yet, but it wasn't ridiculous either. A minute later, I said it again, and the second time it didn't echo. It landed. Nothing magical happened in my room. The walls didn't glow. What happened was quieter. My spine slid a fraction deeper into the mattress. My shoulders lowered without me telling them to. My breath evened out. I fell asleep within 10 minutes, and that was already a miracle. The next morning, nothing giant had appeared in my bank account, but something tiny and undeniable had shifted. My first thought wasn't the old inventory of dread. It was a calm check-in with my body. Jaw, soft, tongue, wide, shoulders, down. I made coffee without checking my email. That small rearrangement felt like a crack in a window that had been painted shut. The bridge started in small, almost silly ways. On Tuesday, a company I'd cancelled a subscription with months ago sent an apology and a refund I'd written off. On Wednesday, the office manager bought lunch for our team, just because, and I didn't rehearse a story about owing the universe for a sandwich. On Thursday, an old client emailed asking if I could retouch a project I had done last year. It wasn't huge money, but it was honest, and I could do it in a weekend. I said yes. I wrote those 3 things down in a notebook I titled Evidence, not Gratitude. Evidence. I wasn't trying to be optimistic. I was building a case I could refer to when the 3 a.m. prosecutor showed up. Each night, I listened to the audio again. Each night, I said, "I am wealthy." And each night, the sentence felt a shade less like a costume, and a shade more like skin. A week in, the first wobble hit. Our department announced restructuring. My chest tightened. The word always lands on me like cold metal. 2 roles were cut. Mine survived, but shifted. Old me would have gone home, opened a job board, and tried to out-anxiety the future. Instead, I lay down and did what the practice had taught me to do. I entered that drowsy edge, the state that feels like a train slowing into a station, and I built a simple inner scene. Me on a Tuesday morning, opening my laptop to a calendar with paid work on it and a bank app with more than enough. Not a lottery win. Not a fantasy mansion, just more than enough, and the quiet in my ribs that comes with it. I let that scene be the last thing I fed to the night. Friday, my manager asked if I'd be willing to take on a cross-team project, a website that had stalled because no one could herd the moving parts. It came with a small stipend, and the freedom to work remote 2 days a week. It wasn't a promotion, but it was a hinge. The stipend would cover two bills that usually made my stomach feel like soda. There were moments I nearly talked myself out of believing. A Sunday afternoon, I did laundry and found myself spiraling while pairing socks. What if this is just a good week? What if it all dries up? The old script was sticky. I caught it mid-sentence. I said, out loud, "That's an old show. We're not running it anymore." And then I put on your audio and lay on the floor for 10 minutes. I stood up with a different spine. Mid-month, something stranger happened. A friend I hadn't seen since college messaged me on Instagram. He had started a boutique agency and needed someone who could see both the pixels and the people. Could I do a paid trial? Past me would have answered with 3 paragraphs of caveats. This version of me sent 2 sentences, yes. What does success look like to you? We set up a call for Thursday. The night before the call, I did something that felt small and turned out to be big. I revised a memory. You had talked about revision, how the past is a seed you can replant. I returned to the strongest, I am bad with money memory I could find me at 19, overdraft fee printed in a red box on a bank statement, heat in my cheeks, a teller who looked like she was grading my life. I replayed it with new film. In the fresh version, I was still 19, still learning, but the teller was kind. The fee waived, and I left with a printed sheet titled Automatic Transfers, and a feeling I'd later learn to call competence. I didn't overwork it. I just let my body feel how different that day could have been, and then I fell asleep. The call went well. Not movie well. Human well. We talked scope, expectations, timelines. He made a joke that actually landed. He asked for my rate. My throat tried to do an old trick and close. I breathed into my back and answered the number that made my shoulders stay down. He said, "That's fair." When I hung up, I didn't do the old post-mortem. I made tea and put a line in the evidence notebook, spoke my rate with a steady voice. It was met. 2 weeks later, the agency contract was signed. It wasn't a salary, but it was recurring work for 3 months with a clear path to more. The first invoice cleared in 3 days. When I saw the deposit, I didn't whoop or sprint. I sat on my bed and put my hand on my belly and said, "Thank you," to whatever part of me had finally stopped calling myself poor. Not everything was smooth. There was a day I woke up to a surprise bill for a car repair. Exactly the kind of thing that used to pull the rug out. I felt the first icy wave, and then I stepped into the practice, like you step into a familiar room. I lay down, put on the audio, and stayed with the feeling that the repair was paid without denting anything else. I sent the mechanic a calm text. He replied, "No rush on pickup. We can split it in 2 payments, if easier." I hadn't asked. The world had just learned a new way to speak to me. The evidence notebook filled, refunds I had forgotten to chase, 2 invoices paid early, a tax return that landed faster than usual, a cousin who Venmo'd me, "For the time you covered me last year." I didn't forget, recurring agency deposits, and the quietest shift of all, the base layer of my day. The background noise in my nervous system had changed stations. I kept the nightly ritual simple. A shower, phone far away, 3 minutes of breathing, the sentence, "I am wealthy," once with my mouth, and then again with the part of me that doesn't need lips. There were practical changes that grew naturally out of the inner ones. I set an automatic transfer for the day after each invoice, savings first, not last. I made a circulation account, just for giving, small monthly gifts to people who had fed me in leaner seasons, and $10 tips that felt like participation in a bigger river. I bought a decent pair of shoes without turning it into a moral problem. None of this was performative abundance. It was quiet alignment. It was finally acting like the person I was telling my subconscious I already was. The best measure wasn't a number. It was a morning, a month later, when I woke before my alarm, not from panic, but from a clear, simple readiness. I made coffee and checked my bank app, not compulsively, but with the same tone you use when you check the weather before a walk. There were three streams: paycheck, agency, a small royalty from a template I'd put on a marketplace 2 years ago and promptly forgotten. Nothing wild. But the total said, in plain numerals, "You are safe this month," and my body believed it before my eyes read it. A few nights after that, I had a dream that felt like a conversation carried on from your visualization. I was in an observatory, a real one, with copper and wood and a telescope that hummed when I rested my palms on it. On the wall there was a dial labeled enough and another labeled plenty. The needle had lived on enough for years. In the dream it slid, casual as a canoe, into plenty and stayed there like it had been waiting for permission. I woke with that image in my chest, a needle that chose a new latitude and never looked back. Since then, the bridge has continued without melodrama. The agency extended me. My manager let me turn the cross-team project into a case study with my name on it. Someone found that case study and reached out about a speaking gig I almost turned down out of old habit. I said yes. It paid more for an hour than the job I worked before paid in a week. I didn't feel like an imposter on that stage. I felt like a person who had been telling the truth to herself at night and was now letting the day catch up. It would be easy to end here with a triumphant line, but the point of this testimony isn't triumph. It's repetition. I still lie down each night and say the sentence. I still get little gusts of what if at odd hours. I still meet the occasional late payment with a twitch. The difference now is allegiance. I am loyal to the inner state first. When doubt knocks, it doesn't find the old welcome mat. It finds a sign on the door that says, "We are resting." Deliveries go to the back, where the universe accepts them on our behalf. 2 days ago, I walked past the guitar I once considered selling. I picked it up and played for 20 minutes. Not because I had earned it, but because that's what evenings are for in a life that isn't an emergency. After I opened the notebook and wrote one more line of evidence. I sleep in wealth and wake in proof. If someone asks me now whether this works, I don't hand them philosophy. I hand them tiny Tuesdays, refunds that make sense, invoices that land early, repairs that become manageable, calendars that fill at the right pace, friends who remember your kindness and return it with interest, and the unglamorous miracle of a nervous system that has stopped living 5 seconds in the future and started living in the only place money can actually arrive, here. The practice didn't change the math first. It changed me. The math followed. And on nights when the old wind tries to come under the door, I do the simplest thing in the world. I put one hand on my belly, one on my chest, and I tell the truth that keeps telling itself back to me. I am wealthy now. Second testimony. The night I stopped owing the world. I used to think of money as a hallway, with doors I wasn't allowed to open. I could stand there and admire the brass handles, even dust the wood on my way past, but those hinges weren't for me. I learned it young. "We can't afford that" was the soundtrack of my childhood, and I carried it like a family heirloom, polished, familiar, heavy. By last winter, I was running a small freelance bookkeeping business from my kitchen table. Ironic, I know, color-coding other people's cash flow while ignoring my own. I had 3 steady clients, 2 occasional ones that mostly ghosted me, and a calendar that looked full without actually feeding me. Net 30 invoices stretched into net forever. I kept a sticky note on my laptop with the phrase "gentle nudge" that I pasted into emails so I wouldn't sound desperate. Meanwhile, my rent hovered like a weather report, and my car insurance felt like an apology I made every month for daring to drive. Sleep was a negotiation. I tried to pass out from exhaustion, and my brain would sit up like a night guard with a flashlight. What about the power bill? Did you miscategorize that expense? What if the January client cancels? I didn't need coffee in the morning because adrenaline had been drip feeding me since 2 a.m. Then a client, one of the kind ones, paid me early with a note: "You helped me find money I didn't know I had. Maybe this will help you find some rest." Attached was a link to your video. I clicked out of politeness and stayed out of recognition. You didn't sell me hype. You told me something no one had ever said plainly. The last thought is a seed. Sleep is the soil. The subconscious is the gardener that never clocks out. It didn't feel mystical. It felt like bookkeeping for the soul. Debits and credits of attention. Entries posted at midnight. That night, I did a radical thing. I closed my laptop before the second scroll of doom. I turned off the overhead light and let the room be kind to me. Hand on my belly, hand on my heart, a slow breath in through my nose, like I was smelling warm bread. And then I said it once, almost shyly, I am wealthy. It felt like I'd put on a coat that was a size too big, but exactly my color. I waited for the cynic to make a joke. He didn't show up. I said it again. The second time, it had weight. Something in my lower back unclenched. I fell asleep without bargaining. There wasn't a thunderclap in the morning. But when I opened my eyes, my head didn't sprint. It walked. I made tea. I opened the blinds. I checked my bank app with soft eyes. And then, because I know myself, I started a new notebook. I called it Green Lines. Not gratitude, not manifestations, just a ledger of evidence, the way I'd track petty cash for a client. Date, description, amount, and a short note about how it felt. The first entries were small enough that old me would have laughed them off. A $12 subscription refund from a software trial I'd cancelled months ago. A grocery coupon that printed at the register for exactly the brand of olive oil I buy once every quarter. An Etsy shop owner paid an invoice that had sat untouched for 59 days and added, sorry for the delay. I recorded each in green lines with the seriousness I bring to someone else's books. I wasn't performing optimism. I was building a case to show my nervous system when it tried to object. Every night, the same ritual. Lights, low. Phone face down across the room. 3 slow breaths. The sentence, I am wealthy. I learned to feel it, not chant it. Sometimes it felt like a warm blanket. Sometimes like a confident posture. Sometimes it was just a steady exhale that didn't stutter. I didn't measure progress by money yet. I measured it by how quickly my jaw stopped clamping when I lay down. Week 2, the bridge of incidents started looking like it had a plan. A client asked if I'd be open to retainer instead of hourly. Same work, less ping pong, predictable income. I said yes before my throat could rehearse a counter-argument. The next morning, the community college, where I'd taken night classes years ago, sent an email about a paid workshop series for small businesses on money hygiene. They wanted a practitioner, not a professor. Would I teach 3 evenings? I almost declined because an old story said I wasn't credentialed. I caught that voice mid-sentence and asked myself one question I'd picked up from you. Which reality am I loyal to? I wrote back, I'd love to. Here's an outline. Not everything turned green at once. My car needed an urgent repair that made my old fear rise like a siren. I sat in the driver's seat outside the shop and did the practice right there, eyes closed, 3 breaths. The sentence. I pictured myself picking up the car with my shoulders relaxed. I felt the feeling of handled in my ribs. When the mechanic called, he offered a payment schedule without my asking. He'd seen my face that morning and decided to be a human being. Green lines entry. Car repair split in 2. Zero panic in my voice. Amount, not the dollar figure, just the value to my nervous system. Around then, I tried revision for the first time. You'd said the past is a seed that keeps sprouting until you replant it. My strongest money memory was a scene in a discount store when I was 8, holding a sparkly pencil set and hearing my mother's sigh turn into a hissed, put it back. Don't you know money doesn't grow on trees? I carried that sentence like a brand. That night, I replayed the scene with different lines. Same fluorescent lights, same end cap of school supplies, but my mother saw me, really saw me, and said, let's choose one and we'll plan for the rest next week. The cashier said, great choice. We left with a bag and a tiny receipt. I felt the warmth of being guided, not shamed. I let that feeling be the last impression stamped onto the night. The next day, a client's wife stopped by our Zoom to ask about a budget tool. She said, "Sorry if this is silly. No one ever taught me how to think about money without being scared." I heard my 8-year-old answer from inside my 30-something body. "It's not silly. It's a skill. We can learn it." She became the first student in a little side offering I called Money Calm. 2 more women signed up because she told them I made numbers feel like a warm room. Green lines kept filling. A utility company corrected an overcharge. A former boss texted that they were retroactively raising contractor rates for work I'd already done. A client, not wealthy, just generous, sent a note that read, "We keep more because you helped us clean our buckets. Please accept this bonus." I accepted, which is a skill too. Not all the incidents felt like progress in the moment. One client let me go. Her brother-in-law wanted the gig. Old me would have spiraled, lost income. Shrinking pipeline, doom. This me opened green lines, ran my finger down the column of dates, and quietly said to my body, "Look at our ledger. The river is wider than this one stream." 2 days later, a therapist in my building took my workshop and asked if I'd set up a simple bookkeeping system for her private practice and 3 friends. It wasn't karma. It was math. After the identity changed. A month into the practice, I noticed the easiest shift. Mornings stopped feeling like debt. I woke before my alarm, not from fear, but from a kind of neutral readiness. I made oatmeal and didn't scroll. I checked invoices at 9, not at 6. I emailed with a tone I'd only ever used on behalf of clients. Clear, respectful, not apologizing for existing. When someone paid late, I didn't write a novella. I sent a short reminder, and then I put my hand on my belly for one breath, and spoke the sentence that now lived between my bones: "I am wealthy." The follow-up payment landed within the week. Green Line's entry chose calm over theater. The workshop series ended with a surprise. The college asked if I'd be their money mentor for the next cohort. Small stipend, yes, but bigger than that was the line it wrote inside me: "I am paid to bring ease to money." On the walk home, the city felt like it had turned one click toward me. The coffee shop owner waved and asked if I had a minute to peek at his POS reports. I did. He offered coffee on the house and told me to put a flyer up about my workshop. I wrote Money Calm Thursdays and didn't make the price a whisper. There were practical choices too, but they grew naturally instead of as penance. I set an automatic transfer to a quiet account that I wouldn't touch and another small one labeled circulation. Money that moved out of me on purpose. The barista who learned my name, a friend who was between contracts, a local school supply drive that made my 8-year-old self feel like a general distributing pencils like medals. Giving became a way to keep the river moving, not proof I was good enough to receive. The part that still surprises me came the night I stopped feeling like I owed the world. I had just finished reconciling a client's books and caught an error that saved her a fee. She replied with a voice memo, "You see things I miss because you're calm. That calm is worth more than the numbers." I lay down and did the ritual. Breath, hand, sentence. But this time, the sentence didn't feel like an aspiration. It felt like a description. Like saying, "I am left-handed," or "I am 5'6". I fell asleep in that simple fact. In the morning, the needle in my head, the one that used to stick on barely enough, had slid into plenty and stayed there without me guarding it. Green Lines has longer entries now. The retainer client became 2. The workshop turned into a small online course that students pay for happily and finish, which matters more to me than a number. A pair of therapists started referring their private practice clients to me because you won't make them feel stupid. My car is paid, not because of a windfall, but because of a string of ordinary decisions made by a person who stopped identifying as a problem to be solved. There are still days when the old weather tries to roll in. A surprise tax letter, a slow month in summer, a client that needs more reassurance than I have to give. But the difference is allegiance. I no longer make fear my authority. I don't let a number on a screen tell me who I am. When anxiety taps the glass, I nod, open green lines, and read 3 entries out loud. Then I lie down for 5 minutes in the middle of the afternoon if I need to. I breathe. I speak the code. I let my body remember who we are, and then I get up and send the next honest email. If you ask me now whether this works, I won't hand you a miracle headline. I'll hand you a ledger. I'll show you entries that look small until you add them up. Refunds, stipends, retainers, classes, kindnesses, a mechanic who offers a plan without being asked, a landlord who says, "You've been steady, I'm not raising your rent this year," a former client who sends 3 new ones, "because you made my nervous system quieter." I'll show you sleep that lands without negotiations, mornings that don't start in debt, and a sentence that's become my resting state. I am wealthy didn't make bags of cash fall through my ceiling. It made me a person to whom money comes clean, without panic, without apology, without the old story that I owe the world before I breathe. It turned the hallway of closed doors into my house. The handles were never locked. I had just been waiting for someone to write me a permission slip. Turns out, it needed to be signed by the part of me that speaks last every night. So I keep signing it. Breath, hand, sentence, sleep. And the world keeps co-signing back in green ink. Third testimony. The night the restaurant learned to breathe. I used to lock my restaurant at midnight, like a man bandaging a wound. Lights off, hood vents cooling, the smell of cumin and burnt sugar still hanging in the air, and me with the ledger under my arm, like a stubborn child I couldn't put to bed. The numbers never slept, neither did I, not really. I'd lie there hearing the ticket printer ghost click in my head, replaying the slowest nights, the returns, the 1-star review that said, maybe they should stop pretending they're a real restaurant. I knew how to dice onions with my eyes closed, how to coax a broth until it sang, but money? Money was the rude guest who stayed late and complained about the music. My father ran a little food stall in a market back home. His gospel was simple and heavy. Everything is hard first. He was not wrong, but he forgot to add, and it doesn't have to stay hard. I inherited the first half like a family recipe and cooked it every day, long hours, thin margins, heroic exhaustion, served with a garnish of pride. If you'd asked me then, I'd have said, I can outwork any storm. The storm outworked me. I found your video by accident, or maybe by mercy. A server sent it with the note, "Chef, this is weird, but you should hear it before you sleep." I almost didn't click. I was tallying liquor inventory, and a supplier had just raised prices again, so my brain was already chewing on nails. But your voice was calmer than the vent hood in the last hour of service, and you said something I had never once heard in a kitchen. Sleep is the womb of wealth. The last thought is the seed. It hit me like the pop when oil meets water, small, loud, undeniable. That night, I didn't fall into bed like a dropped pan. I got there on purpose. I turned off the blue light on my phone and let the kitchen fade out of my muscles. One hand on my chest, one on my belly, I took 3 slow breaths, counting them like I count plates before a big table. Then, quietly enough to not wake the neighbor's dog, I said it, I am wealthy. I expected it to catch in my throat. It didn't. It went down like warm tea. I said it again. The second time, I felt the sentence settle into my back and unwind something I'd been clenching since I signed the lease. Morning didn't hand me a full dining room, but it handed me something that looked small and turned out to be the hinge room in my head. Instead of scrolling through reviews like they were threats, I brewed coffee and opened the ledger without bracing. Not to confirm a disaster, just to look. I started a notebook I called Full Plates, a kind of private service log for money. Date, what showed up, how it felt. Not just deposits, proof of flow. A catering inquiry that had been stuck in, "We'll get back to you," turned into a date. A regular prepaid, a family dinner for the next month, to help you plan. A fish purveyor I've used for years, called and said, "I've got a box that was misrouted. If you can use it, take it half." Full plates entry, halibut at half. No scramble in my chest. I kept the night ritual. Lights low. 3 breaths. I am wealthy. Some nights it felt like putting on a jacket that finally fit. Some nights it was just the only honest sentence in a day of improvisation. But I said it and then I slept. And that was new. Week 2. I tried revision the way you described it. The memory I chose was sticky. Opening week, Tuesday night. 3 tables in a 4-hour window. Me sprinkling chopped parsley with theatrical care to disguise a terror I could smell on myself. I had gone home that night and told my wife, maybe we made a mistake. In revision, I walked back into that dining room and saw the 3 tables as rehearsals, not verdicts. I heard laughter. I imagined a couple asking to speak to the chef and saying, we're coming back Friday with friends. I felt the same floor under my shoes and the same heat from the pass, but none of the dread. I carried that feeling across the threshold into sleep. The next day, a couple who had been in twice sent an email, is Friday too soon to bring 8? It wasn't magic, it was a bridge. And the bridge didn't care whether I deserved it. It only cared that I had stopped arguing with the end. Not every plank looked like progress. A dishwasher quit mid-shift the following week. Old me would have taken it as proof the ship was sinking. This me said the sentence under my breath, while scrubbing a hotel pan. I texted a line cook who had a cousin and said, if he shows up, there's a meal and train up. He did. 2 days later, he shook my hand and said, I like it here. Feels calm. I laughed out loud in the dry storage. Calm was not a word anyone had used for my kitchen in 2 years. There were louder miracles too. A local organizer booked our dining room for a neighborhood meeting and asked if we could do a fixed price menu, family style. I priced it without apologizing. She said yes, and then said 5 important words. We'll take that every month. Full plates entry. Monthly table of 20. We set the table like a feast. It felt like breathing. Meanwhile, I stopped treating bills like ambush predators. I sat with them in the afternoon, when the light in the dining room comes through the blinds in clean lines. I paid some early and wrote circulation in the memo field. I set a tiny automatic transfer to a savings account I named Quiet Oil. You know how a pan sings when the oil is at the right temperature and everything slides. That guilt was the hardest habit to break. The first time I sent an event proposal that reflected what it would actually take, labor, linen, prep, I waited for the client to accuse me of theft. Instead, she wrote back, thank you for valuing your team. Consider it approved. I printed that email and taped it inside the office cabinet, where the W-2s live, not as an ego boost, as a revision the world paying the price of my calm. Sleep became my mise en place. On nights when a storm came through, like the pipe that burst above the bar at 10:15 on a Saturday, I did the sentence standing on a bar stool while I turned the water off. I am wealthy didn't fix the leak. It prevented me from narrating catastrophe while I called the plumber. We comped the dessert. We made it a story the room would tell as a joke, not a warning. On Sundays, I closed the kitchen an hour early and fed my staff at the big table. I'd always done family meal, but now I did something else quietly at the end. I sent them home with a quart of soup and a folded 20, and I told them, this is for your quiet oil. I didn't preach Neville. I didn't even say wealth. I just modeled circulation. Money that leaves scared crawls back. Scared. Money that leaves like a friend returns with friends. Around month 2, my wife said the sentence I didn't know I needed. We were washing parsley in the prep sink, and she said, you look taller. I wasn't. But I had stopped walking, like I owed the world an apology for wanting to survive. I began to spend 10 minutes in the dining room before service, with the lights off. I'd walk between tables and imagine a soft hum of voices, coats on chairs, the relief on faces that comes after a first bite. In those minutes, I wasn't begging for a miracle. I was setting the table in the only place that matters first. The bridge of incidents got playful. A reporter from the neighborhood paper came in on a slow Tuesday and ordered the stew. She asked if I had time to talk. I did, because fear wasn't chewing on me. The piece ran on Thursday. A room that feeds your nervous system first. The line was hers, but it could have been mine. Friday and Saturday turned lively, and Sunday brunch, which I had resisted out of pride, suddenly seemed like an invitation instead of a capitulation. We tried one menu, 3 things done perfectly. The first week covered payroll by 2 p.m. There were relapses. A supplier misbilled me for cases I didn't receive, and for a moment I felt the old heat rise in my face. I took one breath and pictured the ledger with that line corrected. I called without fight in my voice. The rep apologized and added a case of lemons to the next order for the trouble. I wrote, "Lemons for grace," in full plates. That notebook is less about dollars now and more about proof of character. The restaurant. Learning to breathe. The biggest revision I performed wasn't about money on paper. It was about the sentence in my father's mouth. Everything is hard first. I sat one night with my eyes closed and put him at my table. Same apron, same hands, the pride that never let him sit while a pot was on. I served him a plate, beans that had been simmered with an orange peel, rice that held together like a choir, a piece of fish that glistened like a promise. In the revision, he took a bite, put down his fork, and said the other half, and then it becomes yours. I can still feel the chair under him. I can still feel the way that sentence repaired a tear. I didn't know I was still sewing every day. By month 3, our numbers told a story that would have sounded like fiction to me a season earlier. 2 standing catering clients, a monthly neighborhood dinner, a brunch that didn't chew through my cooks, a landlord who came by to say, "You've become an anchor. I'm not going to raise your rent this year." A line cook who asked if he could shadow me on ordering day because I want to understand how the calm happens. My answer surprised me because it was true. It happens at night. I am wealthy did not pour money through the ceiling. It stopped the floor from giving out. It shifted me from firefighting to hosting. It made my emails shorter, my prices cleaner, my yeses precise, and my no's complete. It taught me to stand in a quiet dining room at 3 p.m. Look at 20 empty chairs, and feel the relief those chairs would deliver in 5 hours as if it were already in the room. And then, because the feeling had somewhere to sit, the people came. If you need a miracle headline, I can give you one. The month after I started sleeping rich, our revenue rose 28% over the previous quarter with 1 fewer service per week. But the headline that matters to me is different. I stopped making my nervous system pay for every plate. I stopped narrating lack as though it were my brand. I took my father's sentence and finished it. I tucked my restaurant in at night and finally slept like a person who will be open tomorrow. Here's what never stopped amazing me. The bridge moved, whether I worried or not. The only thing my worry ever did was make me a lousy traveling companion. The law wasn't asking me to hustle harder. It was asking me to choose allegiance. Every night I choose. Sometimes I choose in the walk-in forehead against the cool door. Sometimes in my car. Hands at 10 and 2 at a red light. Most often in the quiet minute when the last server ties the last apron string and the hood fans spin down and the room holds its breath. I put my hand on the host stand, on that worn edge where 1,000 elbows have rested, and I say it into the wood grain. I am wealthy. Then I lock the door, and instead of bandaging a wound, I turn out the lights on a room that knows how to heal while I sleep. And now that you've heard their stories, stories of ordinary people who chose to rest in the truth, stories of quiet moments that turned into bridges, stories of hearts that stopped chasing and started allowing, you can feel it too, can't you? The same calm rising within you, that gentle certainty that whispers, it's already done. Because their stories are not distant miracles. They're mirrors, reflections of what becomes possible when you decide to believe, not with your head, but with your heart. So now, it's your turn. It's your moment to rest, to breathe, to let these words settle into the deepest part of you. There's nothing to figure out, nothing to force. Just listen, and let these truths become the rhythm of your night. This is your time to receive, your time to remember, your time to be. Take a slow breath. Feel your body soften, and let these affirmations wash through you like waves of light. Now repeat within yourself, and let the truth begin to echo. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I rest inside abundance. I breathe in prosperity. I exhale gratitude. Every breath I take reminds me I am provided for. Every beat of my heart repeats, I am wealthy now. Every soft inhale whispers, I already have enough. I don't chase. I allow. I don't grasp. I receive. I don't worry. I rest. Wealth flows to me gently. Wealth flows to me constantly. Wealth flows to me naturally. Money loves my calm. Money recognizes my peace. Money follows my rest. I live in the end where everything is already done. I live in the end where every need is met. I live in the end where all doors are open. I am wealthy now, not someday, not soon. Now wealth is not a hope, it is my home. Abundance is not a wish, it is my nature. Prosperity is not a stranger, it is my reflection. I walk with quiet confidence. I speak from sufficiency. I decide from overflow. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. Every bill I pay is a blessing released. Every coin I touch circulates with grace. Every purchase I make multiplies in kindness. I live in the flow. I live in the ease. I live in the knowing. Money finds me resting. Money finds me smiling. Money finds me thankful. I do not wonder if. I know when, and when is always now. I know how, through peace, through trust, through joy. I am wealthy now. The air around me is charged with supply. The ground beneath me hums with provision. The light above me shines with generosity. I am wealthy now. I am safe to receive. I am safe to expand. I am safe to keep. I am safe to share. Every thought that says enough creates more. Every thought that says thank you opens wider. Every thought that says I have it now builds the bridge. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. My bank accounts mirror my calm. My opportunities mirror my belief. My income mirrors my inner rest. Wealth loves my voice. Wealth loves my gratitude. Wealth loves my certainty. The more I relax, the more I receive. The more I rest, the more I grow. The more I allow, the more I overflow. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I don't need to strive. I only need to see. I don't need to force. I only need to feel. I don't need to wait. I already am. I am wealthy now. It is done. It is sealed. It is mine. I rest in the truth of abundance. I breathe in the rhythm of wealth. I drift on the current of grace. I am wealthy now. And now. And now. I receive with ease. I receive with ease. I receive with ease. I allow good to find me. I allow money to love me. I allow abundance to settle in me. I am open now. I am ready now. I am available now. My hands are open to gifts. My mind is open to ideas. My heart is open to overflow. I receive without guilt. I receive without fear. I receive without delay. I am a clear channel for wealth. I am a calm container for wealth. I am a wise steward of wealth. Opportunities recognize me. Right people recognize me. Right timing recognizes me. I receive with ease. I receive with ease. I receive with ease. Money arrives while I rest. Money arrives while I breathe. Money arrives while I smile. I don't chase. I attract. I don't force. I flow. I don't doubt. I decide. Receiving is natural to me. Receiving is safe for me. Receiving is sacred for me. I receive in simple ways. I receive in surprising ways. I receive in steady growing ways. Every pathway is blessed. Every avenue is open. Every door is already unlocked. I receive with ease. I receive with ease. Shall receive with ease. Shall receive with ease. I am worthy now. I am worthy now. I am worthy of overflow. I am worthy of peace. I am worthy of rest. I do not have to prove. I do not have to push. I do not have to wait. My worth is constant. My worth is complete. My worth is unquestioned. Because I am worthy, I prosper. Because I am worthy, I keep what I receive. Because I am worthy, I expand with grace. I am worthy now. I am worthy now. I am worthy now. I let wealth sit with me. I let wealth stay with me. I let wealth grow within me. I am safe to have more. I am safe to be seen. I am safe to succeed. I am worthy of elegant solutions. I am worthy of perfect timing. I am worthy of joyful yeses. I am worthy now. I am worthy now. I am worthy now. Gratitude multiplies everything. Gratitude multiplies everything. Gratitude multiplies everything. Gratitude multiplies everything. Thank you for the money here. Thank you for the money coming. Thank you for the money multiplying. Thank you for the ideas that pay me. Thank you for the people who support me. Thank you for the peace that guides me. I bless every dollar I touch. I bless every bill I pay. I bless every account I own. What I bless expands. What I appreciate stays. What I honor multiplies. Gratitude is my atmosphere. Gratitude is my posture. Gratitude is my language. Thank you for overflow. Thank you for ease. Thank you for more than enough. Gratitude multiplies everything. Gratitude multiplies everything. Gratitude multiplies everything. I circulate wealth wisely. I circulate wealth consistently. Money returns to me increased. Money returns to me increased. Money returns to me purified. Money returns to me again and again. I am generous and grounded. I am giving and guided. I am abundant and aligned. I keep my overflow with grace. I manage my overflow with clarity. I grow my overflow with wisdom. I circulate and receive. I receive and invest. I invest and multiply. Compassion in abundance out. Ideas in revenue out. Peace in. Prosperity out. I am a steady river of wealth. I am a clear sky of possibilities. I am a fruitful garden of results. I live in the end. 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 I feel the wish fulfilled. I feel the accounts full. I feel the calendar blessed. I walk as the wealthy me. I speak as the wealthy me. I decide as the wealthy me. The end is my starting point. The finish is my foundation. The result is my current reality. I live in the end where it is done. I live in the end where it is sealed. I live in the end where it is mine. I live in the end. I live in the end. I live in the end. I am calm about money. I am clear about money. I am confident with money. Calm opens doors. Clarity attracts help. Confidence locks in favor. I trust the unseen arrangement. I trust the bridge of incidents. I trust the perfect sequence. I rest and receive. I rest and rise. I rest and multiply. I am calm now. I am clear now. I am confident now. I am chosen for wealth. I am designed for wealth. I am supported in wealth. I am chosen to lead with heart. I am designed to grow with joy. I am supported to prosper with peace. I am trusted with more. I am trusted to manage more. I am trusted to become more. Because I am trusted, resources gather. Because I am trusted, support appears. Because I am trusted, expansion sticks. I am chosen for wealth. I am designed for wealth. I am supported in wealth. Money is friendly to me. Money is faithful to me. Money is familiar to me. Money likes how I think. Money likes how I give. Money likes how I rest. Money enjoys staying with me. Money enjoys growing with me. Money enjoys serving through me. I welcome money kindly. I host money wisely. I direct money lovingly. Money is friendly to me. Money is faithful to me. Money is familiar to me. I approve of receiving more. I approve of keeping more. I approve of keeping more. I approve of keeping more. It is safe to expand. It is safe to shine. It is safe to win. My nervous system loves overflow. My body relaxes into abundance. My mind enjoys certainty. I approve of wealth now. I approve of wealth now. I approve of wealth now. I am guided to simple actions. I am guided to timely moves. I am guided to perfect words. Grace goes ahead of me. Favor goes beside me. Increase follows behind me. I am guided in conversations. I am guided in decisions. I am guided in investments. Guidance is gentle. Guidance is clear. Guidance is constant. I act with ease. I act with joy. I act with certainty. Everything compounds for me. Everything compounds for me. Everything compounds for me. Tiny steps expand into big results. Small wins gather into great harvests. Quiet choices become loud abundance. Interest compounds. Kindness compounds. Confidence compounds. My past effort pays me. My present peace pays me. My future vision pays me. Everything compounds for me. Everything compounds for me. Everything compounds for me. I am wealthy now. I receive with ease. I am worthy always. I bless what I have. I welcome what arrives. I prepare for what grows. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I let wealth feel normal. I let wealth feel obvious. I let wealth feel inevitable. Normal wealth stays. Obvious wealth simplifies. Inevitable wealth compounds. I choose the wealthy version of me. I stabilize the wealthy version of me. I celebrate the wealthy version of me. I am wealthy now. I am safe now. I am thankful now. I trust my inner word. I trust my quiet knowing. I trust my peaceful yes. My imagination is authority. My assumption is law. My feeling is the signal. I am wealthy now. 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 I am already provided for. I am already guided. I am already chosen. I am wealthy now. So it is. So it stays. So it grows. I am wealthy now. I drift in gratitude. I sleep in certainty. I wake in overflow. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. I am wealthy now. Close your eyes a little longer. Let the room soften. Let the edges blur. Let the breath widen until it makes more room inside your chest than you knew you had. Feel the bed or the chair. Hold your weight completely. Feel the ground taking care of you without asking for anything back. You are safe here. You are welcomed here. You are already home here. There is nothing left to chase tonight. Chasing is daylight work. And even then, it's optional. Tonight is for receiving. Tonight is for remembering. Tonight is for letting the truth become heavier than the old story. So heavy it settles through you, sinks below thought, and rests where it can grow. You've practiced well. You have planted living words. You have felt them as real. You have watched the mind quiet and the heart speak. Now we stretch time a little, as if we could draw a warm blanket over this moment and make it last. We let the body fall into stillness while awareness stays bright and kind, like a small lamp left on in a gentle room. Let your breath be slow and unforced. Notice how it moves like a tide, in and out, in and out. With every exhale, imagine the day sliding off your shoulders. Names, numbers, tasks, headlines, all of it loosening and falling away. With every inhale, allow a fresh, quiet certainty to enter. Not effort, not hype. Just the simple yes of your deeper self. Say it softly inside. I am already provided for. Say it again. I am already provided for. And feel how those words don't need to shout to be true. Let the jaw unclench. Let the eyes rest heavy beneath the lids. Let the hands open just a little, palms easy, as if they could catch something sweet drifting down. Wealth is not rushing at you like a storm. Wealth is standing right where you are, the invisible fullness you become aware of when you finally stop gripping the air. You are not summoning it. You are noticing it. You can sense the subconscious listening now, the way a quiet room listens when a lullaby begins. It doesn't weigh arguments. It does not tally evidence. It takes the feeling as fact. So give it the feeling that frees you. Give it the flavor of already done. If any old scenes try to replay, let them soften at the edges. Let them dissolve like ink in warm water. You do not have to fight them. There is no battle here. Each time a memory flickers, bathe it in a new light. The bill stamped paid, the account replenished, the door opening, the voice saying yes, the smile that says you were always meant to have this. Let the body feel the relief first, before the mind explains anything. Relief is the language the subconscious understands best. Now allow a gentle wave of gratitude to rise, not to prove you're worthy, but because gratitude is your natural setting when you stop pretending to be small. Grateful for the breath going in and out on its own. Grateful for this roof, this pillow, this warm fabric on your skin. Grateful for the invisible order that quietly arranges the next best step without consulting your worry. Whisper within, lazy and sure, I am wealthy now. Let the words hang in the air, then sink into you like warm tea. I am wealthy now. Notice how the shoulders drop a little more as you say it. I am wealthy now. Notice how the stomach softens. I am wealthy now. Notice the heart finding a slower, deeper rhythm. I am wealthy now. Feel how wealth isn't a number. It's the way your body relaxes when you trust your source. It's the way your breath lengthens when you stop asking for permission to have a good life. It's the way your inner voice becomes kind, and in that kindness, opportunities hear their name and turn toward you. Let's set subtle anchors. You can't forget even in sleep. The touch point in the chest that means abundance. A softness in the throat that means permission granted. A lightness in the brow that means already done. Each time your breath passes these places, it leaves the feeling there, like placing small lights along a path. Sense the future walking toward you through 100 ordinary moments. A message you weren't expecting, a conversation that turns, a timing that lines up perfectly without your control. This is the bridge of incidents forming under your feet. You don't have to map it. You don't have to rush it. Your only part is to keep returning to this tone, this inner climate, this atmosphere of already. If you wake in the night, you won't be off track. Night wakings are secret doorways. If your eyes open in the dark, don't count hours. Count certainties. Feel the covers against your skin and say, as if you're telling a friend a simple fact, I am wealthy. Then roll that feeling like a smooth stone in your palm and slip back into sleep. Each return imprints the truth deeper. Imagine morning arriving like a gentle tide rather than an alarm. Before the mind reaches for the phone, let your hand rest on your heart. Let the body remember tonight's promise. Feel the mattress holding you up just as life is holding you up. Let the first thought be the truest one, it is done. Then let your feet find the floor with a quiet dignity, as if you are stepping into rooms that have been prepared for you. Throughout the day, move a little slower than the world asks you to. Not out of laziness, but out of certainty. Certainty doesn't sprint, it glides. Let your voice carry that softness that comes from having enough. Let your eyes linger on small proofs, a coincidence that almost hides from you, a no that moved out of the way for a better yes, a bill easy to pay, a kindness that finds you first. Each is a note from tonight's prayer, returned to sender with a wink. If anyone asks, what changed? You don't have to persuade them. You'll be the answer. The quietness in your nervous system, the steadiness in your decisions, the generosity that doesn't perform, these are wealth speaking without words. Return with me now, once more, to the center. The breath, the chest, rising and falling. The hush. We'll seal what we've planted with a gentle cascade of identity, each one a petal on the same flower. I am the one who receives with ease. I am the one who pays with joy. I am the one opportunities recognize. I am the one doors stay open for. I am the one money enjoys circulating through. I am the one whose resting state is abundance. I am the one for whom things work out. I am the one who is already chosen. I am wealthy now. Let those lines not be wishes but descriptions, not future tense, present presence. Feel how each sentence smooths another crease, loosens another knot. The mind thinks this is poetry. The subconscious knows its instruction. If a flicker of doubt wanders through, treat it like a sleepy child at the back of a classroom. Smile. Pat its shoulder. Return to the lesson. Doubt has no authority here. Authority belongs to feeling, and you have chosen the feeling that matches the life you desire. Before we drift, bless what you'll never see. Bless the phone calls you won't have to make. Bless the lines you won't have to stand in. Bless the emergencies that quietly resolve before they reach your doorstep. Bless the situations that transform without asking you to carry them. Bless the nameless helpers and the invisible timing and the alignment you'll simply call luck. Bless it all now, in advance, the way sunlight blesses a room before anyone walks in. And bless money itself. Thank it for all the mornings it has already carried you through. Release it from every old story, every heavy meaning that never belonged to it. Let money be what it is, a neutral servant, eager to do good work in loving hands. Tell it the truth. You are welcome here. You are safe here. You are directed here. You are multiplied here. You move with purpose here. When you wake, the world may look the same for a moment. That's all right. The seed does its clever work in the soil, where eyes cannot stare it into growing. Your job is not to dig. Your job is to water with feeling, to warm with attention, to let the sun of your certainty do what suns do best. Soon, shoots, then stems, then the wide, effortless bloom of outcomes that feel inevitable because they are. If your heart is smiling even a little, anchor it in the simplest ritual. Write it in the comments as a vow to yourself and as a light for someone who needs it. I attract wealth, not to manifest it someday, but because you are the kind of person to whom wealth naturally returns. I attract wealth. Because generosity has a home in you, I attract wealth. Because your state is the invitation and your state is already set. If these words held you tonight, come back to them. Let them read you as much as you read them. Let this space be your sanctuary, a quiet room you can enter with a single breath, where the law is simple and the answers are soft. Breathe with me one last time. In through the nose, slow and sweet. Hold for that tiny golden pause. Out through the mouth, longer than the inhale, as if you could exhale the last trace of worry from the corners of the room, again and again. Each breath signing the contract of already. You are not standing at the door hoping to be let in. You are inside the house. You have always been inside the house. Look around in your spirit and notice the evidence, the calm in your body, the loosened jaw, the warm weight in the chest, the mind's quiet, the glow that says yes, yes, yes. Rest now, Creator. Rest now, beloved imagination. Rest now, wealthy one. The night is doing what the night does best, conceiving what the day will deliver. Everything that needs to move will move. Everything that needs to stay will stay. Everything that needs to find you has already started walking. It is done. It is sealed. It is unfolding. Sleep in the end. Wake in proof. Walk in grace. Good night.